Hey everyone, welcome back to Harry What Ifs. Today we're diving into an amazing story called What If Draco's secret twin sister fell in love with Harry and became the most powerful witch in history. If you love these stories, please hit that like button and subscribe. It really helps us bring more content to you. Without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 1, Blood will tell. The Hogwarts Express lurched to a stop, and I nearly fell face first into my trunk. Great first impression that would have been. I steadied myself against the compartment door and took a deep breath. New school, new country, new me. Same old knot in my stomach though. You can do this, Cassie, I muttered, grabbing my stuff and joining the river of black-robed students flooding the platform. The September air bit at my face as I stepped off the train. Unlike the other students reuniting with friends and swapping summer stories, I stood alone, clutching the letter Professor McGonagall had sent after my guardian's funeral. 3 weeks ago, I'd been finishing my 5th year at Ilvermorny. Now I was starting 6th year at Hogwarts, across an ocean from everything familiar. First year's this way, a booming voice called over the crowd. A massive bearded man waved a lantern bigger than my head. Excuse me, I said, approaching him. I'm Cassiopeia Lawrence. The transfer student. His beetle-black eyes crinkled. Right. McGonagall mentioned you'd be joining us. Rubius Hagrid, keeper of keys and grounds. You'll be going up with the older students, but best wait for, there she is. A stern-faced witch in emerald robes approached us. Miss Lawrence, welcome to Hogwarts. I am Professor McGonagall. If you'll follow me, we'll get you sorted before the first years. I followed her to a line of carriages drawn by skeletal, winged horses that several students walked past without noticing. Thestrals. I'd read about them but never seen one. Guess that was one perk of watching your guardians die, new magical creatures became visible. You can see them, can't you? A boy with messy black hair and bright green eyes stopped beside me. A lightning bolt scar peeked through his bangs. Harry Potter. Even in America, everyone knew that face. Yeah, I said. Car crash. You. Long story. His expression darkened. You're new. Transfer from Ilvermorny. Cassiopeia Lawrence. Everyone calls me Cassie. Harry Potter. He extended his hand. When our palms touched, a weird tingle shot up my arm. I pulled back quickly, and Harry frowned like he'd felt it too. Harry. Over here. A red-headed guy waved from a carriage. That's Ron. Harry gestured awkwardly. Go ahead. I'll find a seat. I ended up sharing a carriage with 3 Ravenclaws who peppered me with questions about American magic education until we reached the castle. Walking into the Great Hall hit me with a wave of déjà vu, though I'd never been here before. Something about the enchanted ceiling, the floating candles, it felt eerily familiar. McGonagall led me to a small chamber off the main hall. We'll sort you before the first years arrive. The sorting hat will determine which house best suits your character. She placed a tattered hat on a stool. I'd read about this in Hogwarts, a history, but seeing it in person was different. It looked way too ordinary to decide my future. Just put it on, McGonagall directed. I sat and placed the hat on my head. Immediately, a voice spoke inside my mind. Interesting, very interesting. American education, but British blood. And such blood. I haven't sorted one of your line in, but you don't know, do you? Fascinating. What are you talking about? I thought. Ambition, certainly. Cunning too. Slytherin qualities in abundance, but there's courage here, and such raw power. Better be Gryffindor. The hat shouted the last word aloud. McGonagall looked surprised but quickly recovered, removing the hat. Gryffindor it is. I am head of Gryffindor House, so you'll be in my care. Now, let's join the others. We returned to the Great Hall just as the first years entered. I slipped into an empty seat at the Gryffindor table, feeling eyes on me. Across the hall, a pale, blond boy at the Slytherin table stared at me with narrowed eyes. When our gazes locked, that same strange tingle I'd felt with Harry surged through me, stronger this time, almost painful. "Who's that?" I asked the girl beside me, nodding toward the Slytherin. "Draco Malfoy. Stay away from him if you know what's good for you." The sorting ceremony dragged on, and I found myself repeatedly glancing at Malfoy, who kept shooting me suspicious looks. After Dumbledore's welcome speech and a feast that could feed my entire year at Ilvermorny, a bushy-haired girl introduced herself as Hermione Granger, fifth-year prefect. "You're from America. What brings you to Hogwarts?" Before I could answer, Harry and his red-headed friend joined us. "This is Ron Weasley," Harry said. "Ron, this is Cassie Lawrence from Ilvermorny." "My guardians died last month," I said, answering Hermione's question. "Car crash. I don't have other family in the States, and Professor Fontaine at Ilvermorny arranged for me to transfer here. I was born in England originally." "I'm sorry about your guardians," Harry said, and I could tell he actually meant it. "Thanks. It's been tough, but I'm dealing." Ron leaned forward. "So what's American magic like? Do you guys use different spells?" "Some." I shrugged. "We focus more on practical applications and less on theory. And we don't separate into houses by personality. It's more about what kind of magic calls to you." "Fascinating." Hermione looked ready to whip out a notebook. "I've read that American wizards have a different relationship with no-mages, muggles, we call them here. Yeah, the separation is stricter. No fraternizing allowed." As we talked, I noticed Malfoy leaving the Slytherin table with two burly guys flanking him. He glared at our group, his eyes lingering on me with an intensity that made me uncomfortable. "What's his problem?" I asked. "Malfoy? Being a gid is his natural state," Ron snorted. "His father's a Death Eater," Harry added quietly. "Got arrested last spring at the Ministry." "Death Eater? Oh right, Voldemort's followers." At his name, Ron flinched. "Sorry, is that not cool to say here?" "Most wizards don't say the name," Hermione explained. "Americans," Ron muttered, shaking his head. After dinner, Hermione led me to Gryffindor Tower, showing me to my dorm room where my trunk already waited. My new roommates introduced themselves, Lavender Brown and Parvati Patil, but I was too exhausted for small talk. I fell asleep clutching the locket my guardian Aunt Margaret had given me on my 11th birthday, my only real connection to my unknown parents. By the end of my first week, I had gotten lost 14 times, accidentally turned a Hufflepuff's hair blue in charms, and made an enemy of Professor Snape by asking if he'd ever considered using shampoo. In my defense, it slipped out. I'd also been paired with Harry Potter in potions, thanks to Professor Slughorn's fascination with both Harry's celebrity status and my exotic American education. "Today we're brewing the draft of Living Death," Slughorn announced. "Work with your partners. Page 10 in your books. Best potion wins a vial of Felix Felicis." Harry flipped open his textbook, which was filled with scribbled notes. "I'll get the ingredients," he offered. While he gathered supplies, I studied the recipe. The instructions seemed overcomplicated. I'd made sleep potions at Ilvermorny using a different approach. Harry returned, dumping armfuls of ingredients on our workbench. "So, how are you settling in?" "It's different. Your castle moves around way more than ours did." "Yeah, the staircases have a mind of their own." We started brewing, chopping valerian roots side by side. "These instructions are weird," I said. At Ilvermorny, we used a counterclockwise stir after adding the saprophyros bean juice. Harry pointed to a note in his book. "It says to crush the beans instead of cutting them. And stir counterclockwise 7 times, then once clockwise." I raised an eyebrow. "That's exactly what I was thinking. Mind if I try something?" Instead of following either the official recipe or Harry's notes exactly, I combined approaches, crushing the beans between my fingers rather than with a knife, extracting more juice, then stirring with a pattern I'd learned from my guardian who had been a potioneer. "What are you doing?" Harry whispered, looking nervous as our potion turned the exact shade of lilac the book described. "Magic isn't just following recipes," I said. "It's about feeling the ingredients, understanding how they want to work together." Slughorn wandered over and gasped at our cauldron. "My goodness! I've never seen such perfect color at this stage. What's your technique, Miss Lawrence?" I explained my hybrid approach. Harry looked impressed, and I felt a small glow of pride. Back at Ilvermorny, my intuitive approach to magic had been normal. Here, it seemed to surprise everyone. Our potion won, earning Harry the tiny vial of liquid luck. He tried to give it to me, but I waved him off. "You keep it. I'm not here to win prizes." "What are you here for then?" he asked, looking genuinely curious. I hesitated. "To figure out where I belong, I guess." 2 weeks into the term, I had settled into a routine. I excelled in practical magic but struggled with the theory-heavy approach many Hogwarts professors preferred. Except for defense against the dark arts, where the new professor, Alden Thorpe, seemed unusually interested in my performance. "Miss Lawrence, would you demonstrate the shield charm for the class?" Thorpe asked during our third lesson. I stepped forward, raising my wand. Protego. The shield that formed was visible, a shimmering dome of blue-white light that normally should have been invisible. "Remarkable," Thorpe murmured. Mr. Finnegan, cast a mild jinx at Miss Lawrence's shield. Seamus sent a jelly-legs jinx that bounced off my shield and ricocheted around the room, nearly hitting Neville before I instinctively flicked my wand and dissolved it mid-air. The class gasped. Wandlessly dispelling a spell wasn't something 6th years could typically do. "I'm sorry," I said quickly. "At Ilvermorny 10 points to Gryffindor," Thorpe interrupted. "Excellent reflexes, Miss Lawrence. Stay after class, please." When everyone left, Thorpe circled me like I was a particularly interesting museum exhibit. "Your magic manifests unusually," he said. "Have you always had this intuitive approach?" "I guess. My guardian said I was doing wandless magic as a toddler." "Do you know anything about your birth parents?" The question caught me off guard. "No. My guardian said they died when I was a baby." Thorpe nodded slowly. "Magic like yours often has hereditary components. I'd like to offer you additional lessons to help channel your abilities." "Why?" "Because power without control can become dangerous, to yourself and others." Something in his tone made me uneasy, but I agreed. Extra training couldn't hurt, especially in the current climate. The Daily Prophet had been reporting disappearances, and tension at Hogwarts was rising. The situation exploded the following week when a Muggle-born second year was found petrified in a corridor, not like the basilisk victims years earlier, but by a complex dark curse. The school was in uproar, with Slytherins under general suspicion and security tightened. I was in the library researching a Transfiguration essay when I overheard Malfoy arguing with his friends. "I told you, I had nothing to do with it," he hissed. "But you know who did," a pug-faced girl insisted. "Drop it, pansy." I tried to focus on my book, but Malfoy spotted me and stalked over. "Eavesdropping, Lawrence." "Public library, Malfoy." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "You've been watching me since you arrived." "Why?" That strange tingling sensation returned, stronger with proximity. "Don't flatter yourself. There's something off about you. Nobody transfers to Hogwarts, especially not from America." "Well, I did. Deal with it." His pale eyes narrowed. "What's your blood status?" "Excuse me. Are you pure blood, half-blood, or mudblood?" I stood up, anger flaring. "None of your business, and that term is disgusting." "So not pure blood then," he smirked. I wouldn't know. I was orphaned as a baby. I grabbed my books. But if purebloods are all like you, I'd rather be anything else. As I brushed past him, our shoulders touched, and a jolt like static electricity crackled between us. Malfoy jumped back, looking as shocked as I felt. "What was that?" he demanded. "No idea. Maybe your hair gel conducts electricity." I hurried away, heart pounding. These strange reactions were happening too often to be coincidence, first with Harry, now with Malfoy. Something weird was going on, and I needed answers. My chance came during another attack. I was heading back from Thorpe's special lesson, which had consisted of him testing the limits of my intuitive magic by having me counter increasingly complex spells, when screams erupted from the third-floor corridor. I ran toward the sound and found a first-year Hufflepuff boy suspended mid-air, his skin turning gray as he struggled against an invisible force. Harry was already there, casting spells that bounced harmlessly off whatever was attacking the boy. "Finite incantatem," Harry shouted, to no effect. I closed my eyes for a split second, sensing the magic rather than seeing it, something Aunt Margaret had taught me. The curse felt like sticky threads, wrapping tighter around the boy. "It's a constriction curse," I said, joining Harry. "We need to cut the magical threads." "What threads?" "I don't see anything. Trust me." I raised my wand. Diffindo Magica. Nothing happened. The spell was one I'd created at Ilvermorny by modifying the basic cutting charm, but it wasn't strong enough. "We need to cast together," I told Harry. "Follow my wand movement and say the words with me." Harry looked skeptical but desperate. "Okay. Diffindo Magica," we shouted in unison. Our magic combined with that same electric tingle, but amplified hundredfold. Golden light erupted from our wands, slicing through invisible constraints. The boy dropped to the ground, gasping but alive, his skin returning to normal. Professors McGonagall and Snape arrived seconds later, finding us kneeling beside the shaking first year. "What happened here?" McGonagall demanded. "Someone cursed him," Harry explained. "Cassie figured out how to counter it." Snape's eyes bored into me. "And how exactly did a transfer student recognize an obscure dark curse?" "I didn't recognize it specifically," I said. "I could feel its structure." "Feel?" Snape's lip curled. "Miss Lawrence has demonstrated unusual magical sensitivity," McGonagall interjected. "Take the boy to the hospital wing, Severus. I'll escort Potter and Lawrence to my office." In her office, McGonagall fixed us with a stern look. "That was extremely dangerous magic you encountered. You should have called for a professor immediately." "There wasn't time," Harry argued. He was suffocating. "Be that as it may, these attacks are becoming more frequent. The headmaster believes they may be tests." "Tests for what?" I asked. "That remains unclear. In any case, 20 points to Gryffindor for saving Mr. Ellis, but please exercise more caution in the future." As we left McGonagall's office, Harry turned to me. "That spell you used, I've never heard of it. I modified it last year for a project." "You created a spell?" He looked impressed. "It's not that hard if you understand the underlying magical principles. For you, maybe." Harry studied me. "You know, when we cast together, it felt like." "Like what?" "Like something clicked into place. I've never experienced that before." I nodded, remembering the surge of power. "Magic resonance. It happens sometimes when complementary magical signatures work together." "Is that common?" "Not really." An awkward silence fell. Finally Harry said, "Want to practice defense spells sometime? With these attacks, everyone should be prepared." "Sure," I said, surprised and pleased. "That would be great." Our practice sessions became regular, with Hermione and Ron often joining. I showed them modified versions of Ilvermorny defensive techniques, and they taught me Hogwarts approaches. Our styles complemented each other, Harry's raw power, Hermione's precision, Ron's strategic thinking, and my intuitive adaptations. Meanwhile, the attacks continued, always targeting Muggleborns or blood traitors. Security increased, with prefects escorting younger students between classes. Tension between houses reached breaking point when a Slytherin 7th year was found unconscious beside a cursed Ravenclaw, wand in hand but claiming no memory of the attack. Through it all, Malfoy watched me from a distance, his expression unreadable. Sometimes I caught him staring in the Great Hall, or following me in corridors before abruptly changing direction if I noticed. It was unnerving. During our 6th practice session, Harry and I stayed late after the others left, working on combining shield charms for greater protection. Malfoy's been watching you, Harry said abruptly. I've noticed. He's up to something this year. Disappears from the Marauders map sometimes. The what? Harry explained about the magical map showing everyone in the castle. I think he's working for Voldemort. That's a serious accusation. His father's a Death Eater. And now these attacks. You think Malfoy is behind them? Don't you? He hates Muggleborns, calls them mudbloods, his family serves Voldemort, he seems more scared than menacing to me, I said. Like he's under pressure. Harry looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Are we talking about the same Malfoy? Draco, my father will hear about this Malfoy. I laughed. Fair point. I don't know him like you do. Why are you defending him? I'm not. I hesitated. I get this weird feeling around him, like there's something I'm missing. What kind of feeling? Like, a recognition. It's hard to explain. I shook my head. Forget it. Let's get back to the shield charm. After practice, I headed to the prefect's bathroom. Hermione had shared the password after I complained about my roommates hogging our bathroom. I needed time to think, and bubble baths were my go-to stress reliever. I was neck-deep in rainbow-colored bubbles when the door banged open. I ducked lower, grabbing my wand from the edge of the tub. Draco Malfoy stormed in, loosening his tie and muttering to himself. He froze when he saw me. What are you doing here? We demanded in unison. I'm a prefect, he snapped. I'm allowed. You're not. I just wanted a quiet bath. I kept my wand above water, pointed at him. Turn around so I can get out. This bathroom is for prefects only, Lawrence. Fine, write me up. Now turn around. He complied with obvious reluctance. I scrambled out and wrapped a towel around myself. You can look now. He turned, his face flushed. How did you even get in here? Does it matter? I'm leaving. As I gathered my clothes, I noticed his left forearm. The sleeve had ridden up, revealing what looked like the edge of a dark tattoo. Is that what I think it is? I asked quietly. Malfoy yanked his sleeve down. Mind your own business. If you're involved in these attacks, I'm not, he shouted, then lowered his voice. I'm not, okay? Not everything is my fault. He looked so exhausted, so desperate, that I almost felt sorry for him. Almost. Then what's going on with you? And why do you keep watching me? Because you're not who you say you are, he hissed. I've seen you before. That's impossible. Not in person. In photos. You look like. He trailed off, shaking his head. It doesn't make sense. I look like who? No one. Forget it. He turned to leave, then paused. Stay away from Potter. He'll get you killed. Is that a threat? A warning. There are things happening you don't understand. Then explain them to me. I can't. He glanced at the door, lowering his voice further. But whatever you think of me, I'm not behind the attacks. You need to be careful too. Why would anyone target me? Because of what you are. And what's that? His eyes met mine, gray and troubled. I don't know. But I'm going to find out. He left me standing there, confused and dripping on the bathroom floor. What had he meant about seeing me in photos? And why would I be in danger? The next attack changed everything. It was Halloween, and the feast had just ended when screams erupted from the entrance hall. A third-year Gryffindor hung suspended from the ceiling, writhing in pain as black smoke coiled around her limbs. Professors rushed forward, but their spells bounced off the smoke. I pushed through the crowd, feeling the same magical signature I'd sensed during the previous attack, but stronger. It's the same curse, I told Harry, who appeared beside me. But amplified. Professor Thorpe arrived, casting complex counter-curses that barely slowed the smoke. We need to try our combined spell, I whispered to Harry. In front of everyone. That girl will die if we don't. Harry nodded, and we raised our wands together. Defindo Magica. Golden light erupted again, stronger than before, slicing through the smoke. The girl dropped, caught by Professor Flitwick's levitation charm before she hit the ground. What is the meaning of this? Snape's cold voice cut through the chaos. Potter, Lawrence, explain yourselves. Before we could answer, Malfoy pushed through the crowd, eyes wide. The necklace, he said. Look at her neck. Around the girl's neck was a silver chain with a familiar-looking pendant, identical to the locket I always wore, the one Aunt Margaret had given me. That's impossible, I whispered, pulling my own locket from beneath my robes. They were exact matches, silver with a serpent design and an emerald eye. Malfoy stared at my locket, then at me, face draining of color. Where did you get that? It was my mother's, I said automatically, though Aunt Margaret had never explicitly stated that. No. Malfoy shook his head. That's a Malfoy family heirloom. Only Malfoy women can wear it. The hall went silent. I felt every eye turn to me. That's ridiculous, I said. I've had this since I was 11. Let me see it. Malfoy stepped forward, reaching for the locket. When his fingers touched the silver surface, both lockets, mine and the cursed one on the injured girl, glowed bright green. A searing pain shot through my hand to my heart, and from Malfoy's gasp, he felt it too. Ancient words appeared in the air between us, glowing silver, Gemini Revelio. The twin revelation spell, Snape breathed, looking between us with something like shock on his usually impassive face. The pain intensified, and I felt magic swirling around us, through us. My vision blurred, showing flashes of unfamiliar memories, a manor house, a blonde woman crying, a baby being taken away, and then it stopped. The words faded, and I collapsed to my knees, gasping. Malfoy stood frozen, staring at me with dawning horror. It can't be, he whispered. What just happened? I demanded, looking from him to the professors. McGonagall's face was grave. It appears, Miss Lawrence, that you are not who you thought you were. What does that mean? Malfoy found his voice. It means you're my sister, he said hoarsely. My twin sister. Shock rippled through the crowd. I shook my head. That's impossible. My name is Cassiopeia Lawrence. I'm American, your name, Snape cut in, is Cassiopeia Malfoy. And it appears someone went to great lengths to hide that fact, even from you. The world tilted. I looked at Draco, my brother, and saw my own shock reflected in features suddenly, sickeningly familiar. The same pointed chin, the same cheekbones, the same pale skin. Only our eyes differed, his gray, mine violet. This is insane, I whispered. Professor Dumbledore finally spoke, his calm voice cutting through the chaos. I believe we should continue this discussion privately. Miss Lawrence, or perhaps I should say Miss Malfoy, Mr. Malfoy, please come with me. Professors Snape and McGonagall as well. The rest of you, prefects will escort students to their dormitories. As we followed Dumbledore, whispers erupted behind us. Harry caught my eye, his expression unreadable. I felt untethered, like my entire identity was unraveling with each step. In Dumbledore's office, I sank into a chair, clutching my locket. "This is a mistake," I insisted. "I can't be a Malfoy." "The twin revelation spell cannot be fooled," Snape said. "It activates only for true blood siblings when both touch a family artifact." Draco hadn't spoken since the revelation. He stood by the window, staring outside, shoulders rigid. "But how?" I asked. "Why was I sent to America? Why didn't I know?" Dumbledore sighed heavily. "I suspect only your parents can answer that fully. However, there were rumors, long ago, that Narcissa Malfoy had given birth to twins, a boy and a girl. The girl supposedly died shortly after birth." "Obviously not," McGonagall said dryly. "Indeed. It appears you were sent away, Miss Malfoy, not abandoned. The question is why?" Draco finally turned. "I need to write to Mother," he said. "She needs to know Cassie is alive." "You believe this?" I asked him. "The spell doesn't lie." He gestured to my face. "And now that I know, it's obvious. You look like her, like our mother." I felt sick. So my whole life has been a lie. "My guardians were likely distant relations or trusted allies," Snape interjected. "Tasked with keeping you safe and ignorant of your heritage." "But why? And why attack that girl with a duplicate of my locket?" "To expose you," Dumbledore said gravely. "Someone wanted your true identity revealed." "But who knew?" McGonagall asked. "If this was kept secret all these years?" "Someone who recognized the locket," Draco suggested. "Or someone who suspected and wanted confirmation." "Professor Thorpe," I said suddenly. "He's been asking about my parents, my magic. He seemed to know something was different about me." Dumbledore stroked his beard. "An interesting theory. I shall speak with Professor Thorpe. In the meantime, this information must be contained as much as possible." "The whole school saw what happened," I pointed out. "Nevertheless, the fewer details circulated, the better. I fear your exposure may have been the goal of these attacks all along, which suggests you may be in danger." "From who? Death Eaters?" I glanced at Draco, who flinched. "Perhaps," Dumbledore said. "Or from those who fear what a second Malfoy heir might mean in these troubled times." I stood up, anger replacing shock. "I'm not anybody's heir. I'm just Cassie. The same person I was this morning." "I'm afraid," Dumbledore said gently, "that is no longer entirely true." I returned to Gryffindor Tower in a daze, McGonagall at my side. The common room fell silent when I entered, all eyes turning to me. Harry, Ron and Hermione sat by the fire, clearly waiting. "I'm sure you all have questions," McGonagall said briskly. "Miss Lawrence's family situation is complicated, but I expect you to treat her with the same respect as always." She left me to face the stairs alone. I squared my shoulders and walked to where Harry sat. "So," Ron said awkwardly, "you're Malfoy's sister." "Apparently." "Twin sister," Hermione corrected. "Fascinating. I've read that magical twins often share unique connections. Is that why our spells worked so well together?" Harry asked. "Some kind of. I don't know, magical resonance." I shook my head. "That was different. With Draco, it's like, recognition. With you, it's complementary magic." "Draco, is it?" Ron raised an eyebrow. "Getting chummy with your Slytherin family already?" "Ron!" Hermione elbowed him. "What? She's a Malfoy. His father tried to kill us." "I didn't know I was a Malfoy until an hour ago," I snapped. "Nothing's changed." "Everything's changed," Harry said quietly. You're Lucius Malfoy's daughter." The way he said it, like I was contaminated, made my chest tighten. "I'm still me." "Are you?" He met my eyes. "Because the Malfoys stand for everything we're fighting against. I'm not responsible for what they've done." I stood up, trembling. I didn't choose my blood. The common room had gone quiet again, everyone watching our confrontation. "Neither did I," Harry said, also standing. "But our choices matter more than our blood. So what will you choose, Cassie?" Before I could answer, a tapping came at the window. A regal eagle owl hovered outside, a letter clutched in its beak. Hermione let it in, and it flew straight to me. The envelope bore a wax seal with an ornate M. With shaking hands, I broke the seal and unfolded the parchment. "My daughter, if you are reading this, the protection spell has broken, and you know the truth of your birth. I never wanted to send you away, but your father insisted after the prophecy. A daughter born of serpent's blood shall either raise the pure to glory or cast them down to ruin. He feared you would be the latter. I enchanted your locket to reveal your identity when the time was right or when danger threatened. Someone has clearly activated that magic prematurely. You are in grave danger now that your identity is known. Trust Severus, he took an unbreakable vow to protect you if you were ever discovered. Trust your brother. Trust your instincts, which I suspect are extraordinary if you've inherited what I think you have. We will meet soon. Until then, guard yourself carefully. There is more to your heritage than you know. Your mother, Narcissa Malfoy." I looked up from the letter to find Harry still watching me, waiting for my answer. "I choose to be myself," I said, folding the letter. "Whatever that means now." As I headed for the dormitory stairs, whispers followed me like shadows. My world had shattered and reformed in the space of hours, and the pieces didn't fit the same way anymore. In my trunk, beneath my clothes, I found a small package I'd never seen before. Opening it revealed a leather-bound journal with the Malfoy crest embossed on the cover and a note in the same elegant handwriting as the letter: "When you are ready to learn the truth of your power, write in this journal. It will show you the way." I tucked the journal under my pillow, my mind racing. A prophecy about me? Secret protection spells? Powers I didn't know about? Outside my window, I could see lights in the astronomy tower where Harry often went to think. Part of me wanted to go to him, to make him understand I hadn't changed. Another part whispered that perhaps I had, or would. One thing was certain, I couldn't go back to being just Cassie Lawrence from Ilvermorny. Whether I embraced it or fought it, I was Cassiopeia Malfoy now, and nothing would ever be the same. Chapter 2, Divided Loyalties. I woke up to silence. My roommates' beds were already empty, though it was barely 7. Guess being outed as a secret Malfoy made me the Gryffindor Tower pariah overnight. Fantastic, I muttered, pulling on my robes. The red and gold Gryffindor tie felt wrong now, like I was wearing someone else's clothes. Which was stupid, I was the same person I'd been yesterday. Except I wasn't. The common room fell silent as I entered. A couple second years actually moved out of my way like I might hex them. Seriously? I sighed. I don't have contagious Slytherin disease, guys. No one laughed. No one even smiled. I spotted Hermione in the corner and headed over, ignoring the whispers. "Morning," I said, trying to sound normal. "Good morning." Her voice was stiff, but at least she acknowledged me. "Did you sleep?" "Not really." "You?" "I had some research to do." "About me, I'm guessing." She had the grace to look embarrassed. "I was curious about magical twins." "There's very little information on twins with different magical signatures." "Different how?" "You're in Gryffindor, Draco's in Slytherin. That suggests fundamentally different magical affinities, which is unusual for magical twins. Typically they share house placement. Maybe the Sorting Hat made a mistake." "The hat doesn't make mistakes." She hesitated. "I should get to breakfast." "I'll come with you." Actually, I promised to meet Ron and Harry early to discuss prefect duties. Right. I wasn't wanted. Message received. No problem, I said lightly. I'll see you in potions. I waited until she left, then headed down to breakfast alone. The great hall went quiet when I entered, all eyes tracking me. I kept my head high, ignoring the stares as I walked to the Gryffindor table. A gap opened as I approached, no one wanting to sit near me. Fine. I sat alone at the end and reached for toast, acting like I didn't care. May I join you? I looked up to find Luna Lovegood standing there, her radish earrings swinging. I'd met her briefly during DA practice sessions. Sure, I said, surprised. Though it might damage your reputation. I don't have much of one to damage. She sat gracefully. People think I'm strange already. Well, now I'm strange too. And possibly evil. You don't seem evil. She studied me with protuberant eyes. You have the same aura as before. Just more purple. I couldn't help smiling. Thanks, Luna. Across the hall, at the Slytherin table, Draco sat isolated too. Our eyes met briefly before he looked away. Apparently, discovering a long-lost sister was as socially damaging for him as it was for me. Your brother looks unhappy, Luna observed. Yeah, well, finding out your family lied to you for 16 years will do that. Maybe he's worried about you. I snorted. I doubt it. Draco Malfoy doesn't worry about anyone but himself. Everyone worries about someone. Luna buttered her toast methodically. Even people who pretend not to. Before I could respond, a shadow fell over our table. Professor Snape loomed there, scowling. Miss Malfoy, he said, loud enough for nearby students to hear. The headmaster requests your presence after breakfast. It's still Lawrence, I replied automatically. Or just Cassie. His lip curled. Your name is immaterial. The headmaster's office, after breakfast. The password is acid pops. He swept away, robes billowing dramatically. Luna tilted her head. He's always reminded me of a crow. Smart but ominous. I laughed despite myself. Thanks for sitting with me, Luna. That's what friends do. She said it so simply, like it was obvious. I finished breakfast quickly and headed for Dumbledore's office, taking shortcuts to avoid crowds. The stone gargoyle guarding the entrance leapt aside when I gave the password. To my surprise, Draco was already there, sitting stiffly in one of the chairs before Dumbledore's desk. The headmaster himself stood by his phoenix, stroking its feathers. Ah, Miss Malfoy. Please, join us. I prefer Lawrence, I said, taking the chair farthest from Draco. As you wish, though I fear that distinction may matter little now that your connection is known. What's this about? I asked. Your safety, Dumbledore replied. And your education. Professor Snape has confirmed that the locket used in the attack was indeed a duplicate of your own, created with complex magic that required something of yours to complete. Like what? A hair, perhaps. Something with your magical signature. Great. So someone's been stalking me. It would appear so, Dumbledore agreed. I believe the purpose was to expose your identity, which raises questions about why someone would want that information public. I think I know, Draco spoke up. His voice was tight. Mother wrote to me last night too. She says there was a prophecy about Cassie when we were born. What kind of prophecy? I demanded. Something about raising purebloods to glory or destroying them. He looked uncomfortable. Father was convinced you'd do the latter. So he what, gave me away? Mother said she hid you to protect you from him. Draco wouldn't meet my eyes. He wanted to, get rid of you permanently. My stomach churned. My own father wanted me dead. Father believes in bloodline purity above all else, Draco said quietly. A prophecy suggesting his daughter might destroy that system would be unacceptable to him. How nice to know I come from such a loving family, I spat. Really feeling the warm fuzzies here. I didn't know, Draco protested. I was told I'd had a sister who died. Dumbledore cleared his throat. These revelations, while disturbing, help explain why someone might target you now. If this prophecy is known to Voldemort's followers, you represent either great hope or great threat to their cause. I don't want anything to do with their cause, I said firmly. Nevertheless, you are involved. Which brings me to the matter of your education. Dumbledore peered at me over his half-moon spectacles. Professor Thorpe has expressed interest in providing you specialized magical training. He's been giving me private lessons already. So I understand. I believe these should continue, with certain oversights. What does that mean? It means, Draco cut in, he wants you to spy on Thorpe. Dumbledore's eyes twinkled. I wouldn't put it quite so crudely, but Professor Thorpe's interest in you is notable. He arrived at Hogwarts this year with excellent credentials but limited background information. You think he's the one who exposed me? I think, Dumbledore said carefully, that knowledge is power, and you would be wise to learn what you can while revealing little. I glanced at Draco. And what's his role in all this? Your brother has his own path to walk. However, I believe you would both benefit from understanding your shared heritage. Dumbledore moved to his desk. The Malfoy family possesses certain magical traditions passed through generations. Your mother has requested that Draco share these with you. Draco looked as thrilled about this as I felt. You want us to have sibling bonding time? While someone's trying to expose prophecies about me and Voldemort's gaining power. Priorities, much. Understanding your magical heritage may prove crucial to your survival, Dumbledore said. Blood magic is among the oldest and most powerful forms of magic. The connection between twins is particularly potent. Fine, I sighed. When? Tonight, the room of requirement, 8 o'clock, Draco said curtly. I know where it is, I replied. Harry showed me. Draco's face darkened at the mention of Harry. Of course Potter's involved. He's my friend. He won't be once he knows what you are. He already knows, and he hasn't stopped talking to me yet. Yet, Draco emphasized. That's enough, Dumbledore interjected. These divisions do us no service against our common enemy. Remember that, both of you. As we left the office, I stopped Draco in the stairwell. Hey. This is weird for me too, okay? I didn't ask for any of this. Neither did I. His gray eyes, so similar to what I saw in the mirror except for the color, studied me. But we're stuck with it. Just, don't be late tonight. He stalked off, shoulders rigid. I watched him go, this stranger who was supposedly my twin brother. Nothing about this felt real. You're meeting with Malfoy alone. Harry looked at me like I'd suggested swimming with the giant squid. That's mental. He's my brother, I said, stirring my potion counterclockwise. And Dumbledore suggested it. We were in potions, working on a complicated antidote. Most of the class was giving me a wide berth, but Harry had reluctantly partnered with me when no one else would. I still don't trust him, Harry muttered. He's been sneaking around all year. Maybe he's been dealing with family drama. Finding out you have a secret twin sister has got to be disorienting. You're defending him now. I sighed. I'm trying to understand him. There's a difference. I added powdered moonstone to our cauldron. You don't have to trust him. Just trust me. I want to. Harry looked conflicted. But everything's different now. I'm not different. Your name is. My name doesn't change who I am. I stopped stirring and faced him. Would you rather I'd never found out? That I'd lived a lie forever? No, but, no buts. Either you believe I'm the same person, or you don't. Harry ran a hand through his already messy hair. It's not that simple. It actually is. I resumed stirring, blinking back unexpected tears. I thought you of all people would understand what it's like to be judged for something you can't control. That hit home. Harry's expression softened. You're right. I'm sorry. You should be. Don't push it, he said, but a small smile tugged at his lips. Professor Slughorn wandered over to inspect our potion. Excellent work. The perfect shade of silver. Miss Lawrence, should I say Miss Malfoy, your intuition for ingredient interactions is remarkable. Lawrence is fine, I said tightly. Ah, yes, delicate situation. Well, 10 points to Gryffindor. As he moved on, Harry leaned closer. For what it's worth, I still think you make a better Gryffindor than a Slytherin. Thanks. I think. And I'll wait for you. Tonight. After your meeting with Malfoy. I raised an eyebrow. Why? To make sure you're okay. His green eyes were serious. Whatever your last name is, you're still my friend. The simple declaration loosened something tight in my chest. Thanks, Harry. After class, I headed to Defense Against the Dark Arts for my special lesson with Thorpe. With Dumbledore's warning fresh in my mind, I paid closer attention to the professor's mannerisms and questions. Your performance during the attack was impressive, Thorpe said as I entered his office. That spell, Diffindo Magica, your creation. A modification of the cutting spell, I confirmed. And Potter cast it with you. Interesting combination. He gestured for me to sit. I understand congratulations are in order. Discovering your heritage must be illuminating. I kept my expression neutral. It's been a shock. I imagine so. The Malfoy bloodline is ancient and powerful. He studied me closely. Have you experienced any changes in your magic since the revelation? Why would I? Blood recognition can sometimes trigger latent abilities, especially in cases where family magic is involved. He pulled out his wand. Let's try something different today. I want you to block me, using only your intention. No shield charm. No verbal spell at all. Just will your magic to protect you. I frowned. That's advanced wandless magic. Indulge me. Without warning, he cast a stinging hex. Instinctively, I raised my hand and thought block. To my surprise, the hex bounced off an invisible barrier inches from my skin. Thorpe smiled. As I suspected. Again. For the next hour, he cast increasingly complex spells, while I blocked them using only wandless, nonverbal defenses. By the end, I was creating shields that could deflect even his most powerful attacks, though the effort left me drained. Remarkable, he said as we finished. Your affinity for protective magic is extraordinary. With training, you could become virtually impenetrable. Why are you so interested in my abilities? I asked directly. Thorpe's smile didn't reach his eyes. I recognize exceptional talent when I see it. These are dangerous times, Miss Malfoy. Learning to harness your full potential could mean the difference between survival and alternatives. My mother mentioned a prophecy about me. His expression flickered. Did she? Interesting. You know something about it. I know many things. Whether I should share them is another matter. He glanced at the clock. We're out of time today. Consider what you've learned. We'll continue next week. As I left, I couldn't shake the feeling he was testing me for something specific, something connected to the prophecy. At 8 o'clock, I stood outside the blank wall where the room of requirement should appear. Draco was late, which didn't surprise me. I was about to leave when he rounded the corner, looking even paler than usual. Sorry, he muttered. Got detained. He paced before the wall, and a door materialized. Inside was a simple room with two armchairs facing each other across a small table. A pensieve sat on the table, silvery memories swirling within. Mother sent these. Draco gestured to the pensieve. Her memories of, when you were born, and after. She sent memories by owl. No, Snape delivered them. He's my godfather. Another surprise. So that's why he's been watching me like I might explode. Partly. Draco hesitated. There's something you should know before we look. These memories won't be pleasant. I figured our family history wouldn't be rainbows and unicorns. This isn't a joke, he snapped. Our father tried to kill you when you were 3 days old. These memories show how Mother saved you. That silenced me. Draco continued, his voice tight. After the prophecy was made, Father believed you would destroy everything he valued. Mother convinced him to let her handle it. She faked your death and sent you to distant cousins in America under powerful concealment charms. And you never knew. I was told my twin sister died of a weak heart. His jaw clenched. Father said it proved female Malfoys weren't meant to survive. That only the male line had the necessary strength. Charming guy. He's still our father. Biology doesn't make him my father, I retorted. A father doesn't try to murder his newborn daughter. Draco looked away. Are you ready to see the memories or not? I'm ready. Together, we leaned into the pensieve. The world dissolved, and I found myself in an elegant bedroom where a younger Narcissa Malfoy lay in bed holding two tiny babies. They're perfect, she whispered, touching each blonde head. Draco and Cassiopeia. The door opened, and Lucius Malfoy entered with a grim-faced woman I recognized as a younger Professor Trelawney. Tell her, Lucius commanded. Trelawney stepped forward, her voice taking on an unnatural quality. The daughter born of serpent's blood shall either raise the pure to glory or cast them down to ruin. Her power will transcend blood, and in her choice lies the fate of all bloodlines. You see. Lucius hissed. She cannot be allowed to live. She's our daughter. Narcissa clutched the babies closer. She's a threat to everything our family stands for, Lucius retorted. Everything we're fighting for. I won't let you harm her. 3 days, Narcissa. Make your peace and say goodbye. After that, I'll handle it myself. The scene shifted. Narcissa was placing a sleeping baby, me, into a basket while tears streamed down her face. I invoke the ancient magic of mothers, she whispered, cutting her palm and letting blood drip onto my forehead. By my blood, I hide you from those who would harm you. By my love, I connect us eternally. When the time comes for truth, the serpent will recognize its own. She placed a silver locket around my tiny neck. This will protect you and reveal you when the moment is right. Until then, be safe, my daughter. Be strong. A hooded figure entered. Snape, I realized with shock. It's done, he said. The American cousins are waiting at the arranged location. They've taken unbreakable vows to protect her and never reveal her true identity. And Lucius? The false body is prepared. He will believe the child died naturally. Narcissa kissed my forehead one last time. Keep her safe, Severus. You've sworn it. With my life, he replied solemnly. The memory ended, and we were back in the room of requirement. I sank into a chair, trembling. Now you know, Draco said quietly. She saved me. My voice sounded distant to my own ears. And Snape helped. Mother loves you. She always has. But she let me think I was someone else for 16 years. To protect you from Father. From the Dark Lord. I looked up at him. And what about you? Where do you stand in all this? Draco hesitated, then rolled up his left sleeve, revealing the dark mark. I flinched at the sight of it. I don't have a choice, he said flatly. There's always a choice. Easy for you to say. You didn't grow up with him. No, thanks to him trying to kill me as a baby. I stood up, pacing. So what now? We're on opposite sides of a war. It's not that simple. Seems pretty simple to me. You're serving the wizard who wants to eliminate anyone without pure blood. I'm friends with his #1 target. Potter, Draco sneered. You're too close to him. That's none of your business. It is when your choices affect our family. Our family? I laughed bitterly. Yesterday I didn't have a family. Now I'm supposed to care about the reputation of people who lied to me my entire life. I didn't lie to you. I didn't know you existed. We were shouting now, facing each other with identical expressions of frustration. Suddenly, a strange sensation flowed between us, like an electric current but warm. My anger connected to his, amplifying it, then transforming it into something else, understanding. For a moment, I felt what Draco felt, the crushing pressure, the fear, the desperate need to protect our mother. And from his widening eyes, I knew he felt my confusion, betrayal, and growing fear. We stepped back simultaneously, the connection breaking. What was that? I whispered. Twin magic, Draco said hoarsely. Mother mentioned it might happen once we knew about each other. A magical resonance. I felt what you felt. And I felt you. He ran a hand through his hair, the same gesture I made when stressed. This is why father feared you. Female Malfoys often have stronger magical connections than males. Add twin magic to that. Is that why my magic works differently? Why I can sense magical structures? Probably. The female Malfoy line has always had intuitive magic. Mother does too, though not as strongly. I sat down again, processing. This prophecy, about me raising purebloods to glory or destroying them, what does it actually mean? I don't know. But with the Dark Lord returned. Draco looked pained. People will expect you to choose a side. I already have, I said firmly. I'm not joining Voldemort. Draco flinched at the name. You don't understand what he's capable of. And you don't understand what I'm capable of. I stood up. Thanks for showing me the memories. But if you're expecting me to suddenly embrace pureblood mania and start calling Hermione a mudblood, you'll be waiting a long time. As I reached the door, Draco called, Cassie. One more thing. I turned back. Mother wants to meet you. She's arranged to visit Hogsmeade during the next trip. My heart jumped. She's coming here. She says it's time. He hesitated. I think she's afraid of what's coming. She wants to see you, just in case. The implications hung heavy between us. Tell her I'll be there. Harry was waiting in the corridor as promised. One look at my face and he knew something was wrong. That bad? Worse, I said. My father tried to kill me as a baby because of some prophecy. Harry's eyes widened. Bloody hell. Yeah. My mother faked my death and shipped me to America. Snape was in on it. I leaned against the wall, suddenly exhausted. Oh, and apparently female Malfoys have special intuitive magic that connects to family members, which is why Draco and I can sense each other's emotions now. Fun times. That's a lot to take in. You're telling me. Harry studied me for a moment, then said, Come on. I want to show you something. He led me through the castle to the astronomy tower. The night was clear, stars scattered across the sky like diamond dust. I come here to think, Harry said, leaning on the railing. When everything gets too complicated. Does it help? Sometimes. Looking at the stars makes my problems seem smaller. I joined him, gazing upward. My name is a constellation. Cassiopeia. I always thought it was just a pretty name my parents liked. Blacks name their children after stars and constellations. Your mother was a black before she married. You know your pureblood genealogy. Harry smiled wryly. Sirius, my godfather, he was a black. He told me about his family. Was? His smile faded. He died last spring. At the ministry. I'm sorry. I hesitated. Was that when you fought Voldemort? When Lucius was arrested? Yeah. Harry's knuckles whitened on the railing. Lucius was there. So was Bellatrix Lestrange, your mother's sister. She killed Sirius. I felt sick. My family's just full of wonderful people. You're not responsible for them, Harry said quietly. Just like I'm not responsible for the Dursleys. Your Muggle relatives. The ones you hate. They're still my blood family, even if they're terrible. He turned to face me. That's why I was an idiot earlier. I should understand better than anyone that you don't choose your relatives. It's okay. It's not. I was being a hypocrite. His green eyes were earnest. I'm sorry, Cassie. The way he said my name, with warmth instead of suspicion, made something flutter in my chest. Apology accepted. But you should know, things are even more complicated now. Draco says our mother wants to meet me. When? Next Hogsmeade weekend. Harry frowned. That could be dangerous. What if it's a trap? I don't think it is. The memories Narcissa sent, she genuinely wanted to protect me. Still. I don't like it. You don't have to. It's my decision. He sighed. At least let me come with you. I can bring my invisibility cloak. You have an invisibility cloak? That's so unfair. His lips quirked. Is that a yes? Fine. You can come. But stay hidden unless there's trouble. Deal. He hesitated. Cassie. Whatever happens with your family, just remember you have friends here too. The simple statement warmed me more than it should have. Thanks, Harry. We stood together under the stars for a long time, not talking, just existing in a moment of peace before the storm that seemed to be gathering around us. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of classes, whispers, and increasingly tense encounters. The story of my true parentage had spread throughout the school, creating bizarre social dynamics. Some Slytherins now tried to befriend me, while most Gryffindors kept their distance. Only Harry, Hermione, Ron, grudgingly, Neville, and Luna treated me normally. My lessons with Thorpe intensified. He pushed me to develop my wandless abilities, particularly protective magic, while asking subtle questions about my family history and the prophecy. I revealed little, following Dumbledore's advice, but gathered that Thorpe knew more than he admitted. Your intuitive understanding of magical structures is remarkable, he said during one session after I'd dismantled a complex curse he'd created. Most wizards see spells as fixed formulations. You see them as malleable energy patterns. Is that unusual? Extremely. It suggests you perceive magic differently at a fundamental level. His eyes gleamed. The ability to see the architecture of spells rather than just their effects is the mark of a true magical innovator. Meanwhile, Draco and I met twice more, practicing what he called blood magic, spells that worked uniquely for Malfoy family members. We discovered we could share magical strength through physical contact, a talent that left both of us uneasy with its implications. This is why twins are rare in pure-blood families, Draco explained. The magical connection can be unpredictable. You mean dangerous? Powerful, he corrected. Our magic resonates because we share blood and birth date. Combined, we could probably perform spells neither of us could manage alone. It was strange, developing a relationship with the brother I never knew I had. Draco remained prickly and arrogant, but occasionally I glimpsed vulnerability beneath the facade, especially when he spoke about our mother. She's been different since father went to Azkaban, he admitted during one session. Quieter. Worried. About you? About everything. He wouldn't elaborate, but his emotions leaked through our connection: fear, pressure, desperation. As the Hogsmeade weekend approached, tension mounted. News of more disappearances filled the Daily Prophet, and rumors swirled about Death Eater activities. The day before the visit, Harry and I practiced defensive spells in an empty classroom. Our combined magic had grown stronger with practice, particularly when casting protective charms. "Your shield is getting almost solid," Harry observed after his reductor curse bounced off my wandless barrier. "And your curses are getting nastier," I replied, dropping the shield. "Trying to impress me, Potter?" "Always." He grinned, then grew serious. "Are you nervous? About tomorrow?" "Terrified," I admitted. "What do you say to the mother who gave you away to save your life?" "Thank you seems like a good start." I threw a cushion at him. "Very helpful. Seriously though, it's okay to be scared." He sat beside me on the desk. "Just remember I'll be there. My invisible bodyguard." "Exactly." His shoulder pressed against mine, warm and solid. I turned to face him. "Why are you helping me? After everything with my family, everything they've done to you?" "Because you're not them." His eyes met mine. "And because I like you." The simple declaration hung in the air between us. My heart thumped uncomfortably. "You shouldn't," I said softly. "I'm complicated." I noticed. His gaze dropped to my lips, then back to my eyes. "I like complicated." The classroom door banged open, and we jumped apart. Hermione stood in the doorway, looking apologetic. "Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt." "Professor McGonagall's looking for you, Cassie. Something about tomorrow's arrangements." The moment broken, Harry and I gathered our things awkwardly. As we left the classroom, his fingers brushed mine briefly, a silent promise that our conversation wasn't over. Hogsmeade day dawned cold and clear. I dressed carefully in jeans and a sweater under my robes, trying to look normal despite my churning stomach. "You'll be fine," Hermione assured me at breakfast. After initial wariness, she'd become supportive, fascinated by the magical theory behind twin connections. "What if she hates me?" I whispered. "What if I hate her?" "You won't know until you meet," she said pragmatically. "Just be yourself." Harry met us in the entrance hall, invisibility cloak tucked under his arm. "Ready?" "No," I said honestly. "But let's do this anyway." The walk to Hogsmeade was tense. Harry donned his cloak as we approached the village, becoming an invisible presence beside me. According to Draco's instructions, I was to meet Narcissa at a private room in the Three Broomsticks at 11. As we entered the pub, Madame Rosmerta directed me to a room upstairs without my asking. Clearly arrangements had been made. I climbed the stairs alone, though I knew Harry followed silently. I paused outside the door, heart hammering, then knocked. "Enter," called a woman's voice. I pushed open the door and stepped into a small, comfortable room where a blonde woman stood by the window. She turned, and I found myself looking at features startlingly similar to my own, the same pointed chin, the same cheekbones, the same slender build. Only her eyes were different, blue instead of my violet. "Cassiopeia," she breathed. "Mother," I said, the word foreign on my tongue. Neither of us moved for a long moment. Then Narcissa Malfoy crossed the room in swift steps and embraced me. I stood frozen, overwhelmed by the scent of expensive perfume and the unfamiliar sensation of a mother's arms around me. "Let me look at you," she said, stepping back and cupping my face. "You're beautiful. So grown up." 16 years will do that," I said, then winced at my own sharpness. Narcissa didn't seem offended. "You have every right to be angry. I've rehearsed explanations for years, but now that you're here." She gestured to a small table set with tea. "Please, sit. We have much to discuss." I sat, hyper-aware of Harry's invisible presence by the door. Narcissa poured tea with elegant precision. Draco showed me your memories, I said. About my birth. The prophecy. Did he? Good. That's a start. She studied me. You look so much like him. Like both of us. But your eyes, those come from the black side, my grandmother had those exact violet eyes. Why am I here now? I asked directly. Why expose me after all these years of secrecy? Narcissa's composure slipped slightly. I didn't expose you. Someone else did. I've been investigating how they discovered your existence. So you'd have kept me hidden forever? No. She set down her teacup. I always planned to tell you the truth when you came of age. To give you the choice of claiming your heritage or maintaining your separate life. Choice, I repeated. The prophecy mentioned my choice affecting bloodlines. Yes. I believe it refers to your unique magical abilities. She leaned forward. Female Malfoys have always had special gifts, but your potential exceeds anything in our family records. Combined with the black family magic from my side. That's why Lucius wanted me dead. Your father fears what he cannot control, Narcissa said quietly. When the prophecy suggested you might undermine everything he believes about blood purity, he saw only threat, not possibility. And what do you see? My daughter. Her voice softened. The child I gave up to save. The witch who might bridge worlds I never could. Because my magic works differently. Because you were raised outside pure blood doctrine, yet carry the most ancient blood magic in your veins. She reached for my hand. You understand both worlds in a way neither your father nor the Dark Lord can. I didn't pull away, but I didn't squeeze back either. Is that why someone exposed me? Because of this potential? I believe so. There are factions who would use you as a symbol, or a weapon. Her blue eyes were intense. The Dark Lord has asked about you. A chill ran through me. What did you tell him? That you were raised without knowledge of your heritage. That you're still discovering your abilities. She glanced toward the door, and I realized with a jolt that she knew Harry was there. I've managed to delay any summons. But time is running short. I won't join him, I said flatly. Ever. I'm not asking you to. She squeezed my hand. I'm asking you to be careful. To learn about your heritage and abilities so you can protect yourself. Against Voldemort? She flinched at the name. Against anyone who would use you for their own purposes. Including Dumbledore. Dumbledore's been helping me. Dumbledore uses people as chess pieces, Narcissa said sharply. Ask Potter if you don't believe me. I felt Harry shift behind me. Why did you bring me here today? Really? To warn you, Narcissa said. And to give you this. She removed a small silver box from her robes and placed it on the table. This contains instructions for unlocking certain family magics that may help protect you. Spells only those of Malfoy and black blood can perform. She pushed it toward me. Study it in private. Why would you help me resist Voldemort when Draco serves him? When your husband served him? Narcissa's mask slipped, revealing raw anguish. Because I'm losing one child to him already. I won't lose both. The stark admission stunned me. Before I could respond, shouts erupted from outside, followed by a loud explosion. Harry threw off the cloak. Death Eaters. Narcissa whirled, one drawn, but relaxed slightly seeing Harry. Potter. I thought you might be here. Another explosion rocked the building. Harry ran to the window. They're attacking the village. At least a dozen of them. Narcissa looked grim. This isn't coincidence. Someone knew I would be here meeting you. We need to help, I said, drawing my wand. Absolutely not, Narcissa and Harry said in unison, then looked at each other in surprise. "You're the target," Narcissa insisted. "They're trying to draw you out." "I don't care. People are getting hurt." I moved toward the door, but Harry blocked me. "She's right, Cassie. It's too dangerous." "Since when do you avoid danger?" I demanded. "People need help." A massive crash from downstairs decided the matter. Screams filled the air, and the smell of smoke reached us. "They're in the building," Harry said grimly. Narcissa grabbed my arm. "The back stairs. Quickly." We hurried to a narrow staircase behind a tapestry. Harry went first, wand ready. As we reached the bottom, spellfire illuminated the alley behind the 3 broomsticks. 2 masked Death Eaters were dueling with students. "Stay back," Harry whispered, but it was too late. One of the Death Eaters spotted us. "There. It's Potter and the Malfoy girl." Curses flew toward us. I reacted instinctively, throwing up a wandless shield that encompassed all 3 of us. The spells bounced harmlessly away. "Impressive," Narcissa murmured, then stepped forward and cast with deadly precision. 1 Death Eater went down, rigid as a board. Harry dispatched the second with a well-placed stunning spell. "We need to get back to the castle," he said. "The main street will be watched," Narcissa replied. "This way." She led us through back alleys toward Honeydukes, where a secret passage led back to Hogwarts. We were almost there when a high, cruel laugh stopped us cold. "Going somewhere, sister dear?" Bellatrix Lestrange stepped from the shadows, twirling her wand. 4 other Death Eaters flanked her. "Hello, Bella," Narcissa said coolly. "You look terrible." Bellatrix's eyes fixed on me. "So this is the secret daughter. The Dark Lord will be most interested to meet her." She glanced at Harry. "And Potter too. What a lovely gift you've brought us, sissy." "You're not taking either of them," Narcissa said, stepping in front of us. "Protecting Potter now?" Bellatrix's eyes widened in mock surprise. "What would Lucius say?" "My husband isn't here." "I am." "Stand aside, Narcissa. The Dark Lord wants the girl unharmed, but he didn't specify what condition you should be in." Harry gripped my arm. "On 3, he whispered, cast your biggest shield. 1, 2, 3. I shouted, throwing every ounce of power into a shield spell while Harry simultaneously cast a blasting curse at the ground before the Death Eaters. Dust and debris exploded upward, temporarily blinding them. Narcissa didn't hesitate, casting what looked like a whip of purple fire that slashed through the cloud. "Run," she commanded. We bolted toward Honeydukes, curses flying past us. I glanced back to see Narcissa dueling Bellatrix with frightening intensity, giving us time to escape. "We can't leave her," I shouted to Harry. "She can handle herself." A scream of rage from Bellatrix suggested Narcissa was indeed holding her own. More Death Eaters appeared ahead, blocking our path to Honeydukes. We skidded to a halt, surrounded. "Now what?" I gasped. Harry looked around desperately. "We need help." As if in answer, spells suddenly barraged the Death Eaters from behind. McGonagall, Flitwick, and several 7th years had arrived, engaging the attackers. In the confusion, Harry grabbed my hand and pulled me toward a narrow space between buildings. "This way." We emerged near the edge of the village, but 2 Death Eaters spotted us and gave chase. Harry sent stunning spells over his shoulder as we ran, hitting one but missing the other. "We're cut off from the castle," I panted. "I know. Keep running." The remaining Death Eater gained on us, curses narrowly missing. One struck a tree beside me, shattering it and sending splinters flying. A jagged piece caught my arm, drawing blood. Something snapped inside me at the sight of my own blood. Rage and power surged through my veins. I whirled, raising my bleeding arm. "Cruer contigo." The words came from nowhere, a spell I'd never learned but somehow knew. My blood droplets suspended in midair, then expanded into a crimson shield that solidified between us and our pursuer. His curse hit it and rebounded, striking him squarely in the chest. He collapsed, motionless. Harry stared at my blood shield in shock. What was that? I don't know, I whispered, equally stunned. Blood magic, I think. The shield dissolved, blood droplets falling harmlessly to the ground. I swayed, suddenly lightheaded. Harry caught me. Are you okay? Just dizzy. That took a lot out of me. Shouts approached, friendly voices this time. Professor Flitwick found us moments later, escorting us back toward the village center where Order members had arrived to help repel the attack. The Death Eaters were retreating, disapparating with their wounded. In the aftermath, I searched frantically for Narcissa but found no sign of her. Your mother disapparated once she saw Order members arriving, Draco said, appearing beside me. His face was scratched, his robes torn. What happened to your arm? Just a cut. I studied him. You were fighting. Trying not to get killed, he corrected. Those weren't exactly friendly curses flying around. Did you know this would happen? His face hardened. You think I'd put Mother in danger? Or you? I felt the truth of his denial through our connection. No. Sorry. Professor McGonagall gathered all students, organizing our return to the castle. 6 people had been injured, though thankfully none fatally. Why attack Hogsmeade so openly? Hermione wondered as we trudged back. They weren't after Hogsmeade, Harry said grimly. They were after Cassie. And you, I reminded him. Bellatrix seemed pretty excited to find you with me. 2 for the price of 1. Ron shuddered. I clutched Narcissa's silver box in my pocket, wondering what family magic it contained that was worth this risk. More importantly, I wondered who had betrayed our meeting location to the Death Eaters. We need to tell Dumbledore everything, Harry insisted once we reached the safety of the castle. Not everything, I said, thinking of the box and the blood magic I'd performed. Some secrets needed to remain my own, at least until I understood them better. In the days following the Hogsmeade attack, security tightened throughout Hogwarts. Aurors patrolled the corridors, and all future village visits were cancelled. The Daily Prophet reported the attack as random Death Eater violence, but those of us who had been there knew the truth. Harry and I were summoned to Dumbledore's office to provide detailed accounts. I carefully omitted the silver box and the blood shield, describing only the meeting with Narcissa and our escape. Your mother took considerable risk to meet you, Dumbledore observed. She must have had important information to share. Just family history, I said vaguely. And warnings about Voldemort's interest in me because of the prophecy. Dumbledore's piercing blue eyes studied me. Prophecies are curious things, Miss Malfoy. They reveal possible paths but not definite destinations. So I'm not destined to destroy or save pureblood society. You are destined to make choices, as we all are. Those choices may have far-reaching consequences because of your unique position and abilities. He steepled his fingers. Your ability to perform wandless magic intuitively is remarkable. Professor Thorpe reports your progress is extraordinary. Speaking of Thorpe, Harry interjected, isn't it suspicious that the attack happened during a lesson he arranged? I have questioned Professor Thorpe extensively, Dumbledore assured us. He appears genuinely disturbed by the attack. Appears, Harry repeated skeptically. After the meeting, Harry and I found an empty classroom to discuss privately. Dumbledore's hiding something, Harry insisted. He knows more about your prophecy than he's saying. Probably, I agreed. But so am I. I pulled out Narcissa's silver box. My mother gave me this. Instructions for family magic. Harry eyed it cautiously. Are you going to open it? I already did, last night. I hesitated. It contains spells only Malfoys and Blacks can perform. Blood magic. Like that shield you created? That was instinctive. This is more, deliberate. I opened the box, revealing a small leather-bound book. It describes how to use blood as a magical conductor, amplifying certain spells through familial connection. That sounds like dark magic, Harry said uneasily. It's old magic, I corrected. Before the Ministry classifications. Neither dark nor light, just, powerful. And dangerous? Potentially. It draws on life force as well as magical ability. Harry ran a hand through his hair. Why are you telling me this? It's your family magic. Because I trust you, I said simply. And because I need help figuring out what to do with it. He looked surprised, then pleased. Okay. So what does it say exactly? I explained the basic principles, how Malfoy blood could be used to create protective barriers, tracking spells, and magical connections between family members. The most powerful spells required the participation of multiple family members, combining their blood and magic. That's why twins are significant, I concluded. Our identical birth strengthens the connection. Could you and Draco perform these spells together? Theoretically. But I don't think he knows about most of them. Lucius probably kept them secret. From his own son. From everyone. According to the book, these spells haven't been used in generations because they're considered too egalitarian. What does that mean? They don't care about blood purity. They just care about blood connection. I traced the book's cover. Which means half-bloods with Malfoy or black blood could perform them just as well as purebloods. Harry's eyes widened. That would undermine the whole pureblood superiority thing. Exactly. Her power will transcend blood, I quoted the prophecy. I think this is what it means. Magic that works based on family connection rather than blood purity. No wonder Voldemort wants you. And no wonder your father was afraid. We fell silent, contemplating the implications. Finally, Harry spoke again. What will you do with it? Learn it, I said decisively. If it can help protect people I care about, I need to understand it. I'll help however I can, Harry promised. But we should be careful who knows about this. Agreed. Not even Hermione and Ron for now. Harry nodded, then glanced at his watch. We should get to dinner. As we walked to the great hall, our hands brushed accidentally. Without thinking, I intertwined my fingers with his. Harry looked surprised but squeezed gently. Cassie, about what I was saying before the attack. That you like me? Despite the complicated Malfoy twin situation. Yeah, that. He smiled crookedly. It's still true. Good to know. And? I pretended to consider. And? I might like you too. Despite your hero complex and terrible hair. My hair is not terrible. It's a disaster. I reached up and ruffled it, making it stand up even more. But somehow it works for you. Harry caught my hand, holding it against his cheek for a moment. We're both disasters, you know. Perfect match, then. We smiled at each other, and for a brief moment, prophecies and Death Eaters and complicated family magic faded into the background. Then reality intruded in the form of Professor Snape, sweeping around the corner and raising an eyebrow at our clasped hands. Miss Malfoy. Potter. Displaying affections in corridors is against school rules. We jumped apart, guilty as first years. 10 points from Gryffindor, Snape said silkily. And Miss Malfoy, Professor Thorpe requests your presence in his office after dinner. Another special lesson. So it would appear. Snape hesitated. Exercise, caution in what you reveal. The warning was unexpected. You don't trust him. I trust very few people, Miss Malfoy. A habit you would be wise to cultivate. His dark eyes flicked to Harry. Even regarding your choice of companions. He swept away, leaving us staring after him. Did Snape just give you personal advice? Harry asked incredulously. I think he did. I remembered Narcissa's memory, Snape's vow to protect me. Weird. Thorpe was agitated when I arrived at his office, pacing before the fireplace. You used blood magic during the attack, he said without preamble. I froze in the doorway. How did you know? I have ways of detecting magical signatures. Blood magic leaves distinctive traces. He finally turned to face me. Where did you learn it? I chose my words carefully. I didn't learn it. It happened instinctively when I was injured. Instinctive blood magic. Thorpe shook his head. Do you have any idea how rare that is? I'm gathering it's not a common talent. It's practically unheard of. He gestured for me to sit. The ability to access family magic without training suggests extraordinary magical sensitivity. Combined with your wandless abilities. What exactly is your interest in my abilities, Professor? You've been pushing me to develop them since I arrived. Thorpe considered me for a long moment. I represent a group that monitors magical phenomena, particularly those connected to prophecies. When signs appeared suggesting the Malfoy prophecy was activating, I was sent to investigate. What group? We have many names. Some call us the Unspeakables. You work for the Ministry. We work for magic itself, he corrected. Maintaining balance, documenting developments, occasionally, intervening when necessary. And I'm a development that needs monitoring. You're a potential inflection point in magical history. His expression was deadly serious. The magic you're accessing hasn't been seen in centuries. It predates modern distinctions between dark and light magic. Some would call it primordial magic, the original form from which all wand work developed. I digested this. Why tell me now? Because after the attack, concealment is pointless. Voldemort knows about you. The prophecy is in play. He leaned forward. You need to accelerate your training. The blood magic you performed was powerful but crude. Properly channeled, it could be extraordinary. You want to teach me blood magic? I want to help you understand what you can already do instinctively. To refine it. The offer was tempting. Narcissa's book provided instructions but few explanations of the underlying principles. Why should I trust you? I asked bluntly. Thorpe smiled thinly. You shouldn't. Trust no one completely in these times. But consider this, if I wished you harm, I've had ample opportunity to cause it. That's not very reassuring. It's honest. Which is more than most will give you. I made a decision. I'll continue our lessons. But I won't tell you everything I know or can do. Fair enough. He nodded. We'll begin tomorrow evening. For now, I suggest you practice your wandless shields. You may need them sooner than you think. That night, I met Harry in the room of requirement to experiment with the blood magic from Narcissa's book. The room had transformed into a practice space with cushioned walls and a small potions area. Are you sure about this? Harry asked as I pricked my finger with a silver needle. No, but I'm doing it anyway. I let a drop of blood fall onto a piece of parchment. The simplest spell is a tracking charm. If I focus on Draco while activating this, I should be able to sense his location. Useful if he's up to something suspicious. I shot him a look. He's still my brother. Sorry, Harry said, not looking very sorry. I placed my wand tip to the blood drop and whispered, Cruor Vestigium. The drop spread into a spidery pattern across the parchment, eventually forming a rough map of Hogwarts with a glowing dot in what appeared to be the Slytherin dormitories. It worked. I exclaimed. Brilliant, Harry admitted. What else can you do? I consulted the book. There's a protection spell that creates a blood ward. Anyone with shared blood can pass through it, but others are repelled. That's similar to what protects me at my aunt and uncle's house. My mother's sacrifice created a blood protection. This is less powerful but more flexible, I explained. It doesn't require death, just intent and a blood offering. We practiced several basic spells, discovering that my natural affinity made them easier than the book suggested they should be. By the time we finished, I could create blood-based shields, tracking charms, and even a rudimentary communication link that would theoretically allow me to send emotions to Draco. As I cleaned up the blood drops from our practice, Harry watched me thoughtfully. "What is it?" I asked. "Just wondering, does this change how you see yourself?" "Learning family magic, connecting with your brother." "You mean am I embracing my inner Malfoy?" "Something like that." I considered the question seriously. "I'm not becoming Lucius, if that's what you're worried about. But I can't deny this connection either. The magic responds to me because of who I am, who I've always been, even when I didn't know it." "And who is that exactly?" "Someone in between worlds," I said slowly. "Not fully American or British. Not fully Lawrence or Malfoy. Just, me. Cassie." Harry moved closer. "I like Cassie." "Just Cassie?" "Cassie Lawrence, Cassie Malfoy, doesn't matter." His voice softened. "You're still the girl who knew how to counter that curse. The girl who argues with Snape and creates her own spells. The girl who... Who what? Who I can't stop thinking about." The simple honesty of it made my breath catch. Without overthinking, I leaned forward and kissed him. His lips were warm and slightly chapped, and he froze for a second before kissing back, one hand coming up to cup my face. We broke apart after a moment, both a little dazed. "Well," Harry said, blinking. "That was... magical?" I suggested with a smirk. He laughed, then grew serious. "Is this a good idea? With everything that's happening?" "Probably not," I admitted. "But when have either of us done the sensible thing?" Harry grinned. "Fair point." He kissed me again, longer this time, and for a few minutes, we were just two teenagers without prophecies or Death Eaters or complicated family legacies hanging over our heads. Just Harry and Cassie, figuring things out together. Reality returned when the door to the room of requirement banged open. We sprang apart to find Draco standing there, pale and wide-eyed. "Cassie." "I've been looking everywhere," he stopped, taking in the scene. "Potter? Seriously? Ever heard of knocking?" I asked, trying to sound casual while my face burned. "The castle's being searched," Draco said tersely. "Filch found something, a cursed object in a bathroom. They think it was meant for Dumbledore." Harry straightened immediately. "What kind of object?" "A necklace. Katie Bell touched it and now she's in St. Mungo's." Draco's face was ashen. "They're questioning all prefects about who had access to the bathrooms." Harry's eyes narrowed suspiciously. "And you came running to find Cassie because..." "Because my sister has been practicing blood magic, which could leave traces they might detect," Draco snapped. "I felt it through our connection." I stared at him. "You can feel when I use it?" "Not specifics, just power surges. It's how I found you." His eyes darted to the book on the table. "Where did you get that?" "Mother gave it to me at Hogsmeade." Understanding dawned on Draco's face. "So that's what was in the package." He ran a hand through his hair. "You need to be careful. If the Aurors detect blood magic, they'll investigate." "Why would they care?" Harry asked. "Because it's borderline illegal," Draco replied impatiently. "The Ministry classifies unregistered blood rituals as dark magic." I quickly packed away the book and cleaned the remaining traces of blood. "Thanks for the warning." Draco hovered awkwardly, clearly wanting to say more but not in front of Harry. I sighed. "Harry, can you give us a minute?" Harry looked between us, clearly reluctant. "I'll wait outside." Once he left, Draco exploded. "Potter? You're kissing Potter now? That's what you're worried about? Not the cursed necklace or the oars. It's a complication we don't need. Do you have any idea what Father would say? What the Dark Lord would do if he knew?" "I don't care what either of them thinks," I retorted. "And neither should you." Draco laughed hollowly. "That's easy for you to say. You didn't grow up with them. You don't have the mark. Then why did you take it? Why are you doing his bidding?" "Because I don't have a choice." Draco shouted, then lowered his voice. "He'll kill Mother if I fail. Maybe me too." I felt his anguish through our connection, raw and overwhelming. "Fail at what? What has he asked you to do?" Draco turned away. "I can't tell you that." "Then let me help another way." "Whatever it is, you can't help." His voice was flat. "No one can. Dumbledore, especially not Dumbledore." Draco's laugh was bitter. "Just, be careful with the blood magic. And with Potter. Both are dangerous in different ways." He left without another word, shoulders hunched as if carrying an invisible weight. Harry returned moments later, concerned. "What was that about?" "Draco's in trouble," I said slowly. "Deep trouble. I think Voldemort's forcing him to do something. Like smuggle cursed necklaces into the school." I winced. "Maybe. But there's more to it. He's terrified. He should be, if he's attacking students." "It's not that simple, Harry." I gathered my things. "I need to figure out what he's been tasked with. If I can help him, help him." Harry looked incredulous. "Cassie, if he cursed Katie, he belongs in Azkaban. And if he's being coerced? If Voldemort's threatening his mother, our mother?" Harry had no answer for that. We left the room of requirement in uneasy silence, the brief joy of our kiss overshadowed by darker realities. In the weeks that followed, I divided my time between regular classes, blood magic practice, lessons with Thorpe, and secret meetings with Harry. Our relationship developed tentatively, both of us aware of the complications but unable to resist the connection between us. The cursed necklace investigation continued, with Oris interviewing students and staff. Katie Bell remained at St. Mungo's, her prognosis uncertain. Harry remained convinced Draco was responsible, while I reserved judgment, watching my brother grow increasingly haggard and isolated. My own position at Hogwarts had evolved strangely. My Malfoy heritage was now common knowledge, but my relationship with Harry confused the usual house rivalries. Some Slytherins attempted to befriend me, particularly Blaise Zabini, who seemed fascinated by my unusual path. "You're neither fish nor fowl," he told me during a potions class where we'd been paired. "Malfoy blood but Gryffindor placement. Pure blood heritage but American upbringing. It makes you interesting." "Glad my identity crisis entertains you," I replied dryly. Blaise grinned. "It's more than entertainment. You challenge categories. Not everyone fits neatly into the boxes society creates." Philosophical for a Slytherin. "We're not all thugs and Death Eater wannabes," he said, lowering his voice. "Some of us have more nuanced views on blood politics." "Meaning?" "Meaning survival depends on adaptation. Smart purebloods recognize that." I studied him curiously. "Are you trying to recruit me to some moderate pureblood faction?" "Just making conversation." His dark eyes glinted. "And letting you know not everyone sees your situation in black and white terms." Meanwhile, my lessons with Thorpe advanced to complex magical theory. He taught me to visualize magical structures as architectural forms that could be modified or combined. "Most wizards see spells as fixed recipes," he explained. "Add these ingredients, say these words, move your wand this way. But magic is fluid. The structures we've codified are just familiar paths through the underlying energy. So I could create entirely new spells. With sufficient understanding, yes. Thorpe watched as I disassembled and reconstructed a levitation charm to affect multiple objects simultaneously. Your intuitive grasp of these concepts is remarkable. It typically takes decades for magical theorists to develop this level of perception. My blood magic studies progressed more slowly, limited by the need for secrecy and the book's sometimes cryptic instructions. I practiced with Harry and occasionally with Draco, though the latter remained distant and preoccupied. During one practice session with Harry, I attempted a more complex protection spell that required a larger blood offering. I sliced my palm with a silver knife, letting several drops fall into a prepared potion. Cruer protegat delectum, I whispered, focusing on Harry's face. The potion flashed silver, then absorbed into my bleeding palm, leaving a faint mark shaped like a stylized shield. Did it work? Harry asked. I think so. The book says the mark will remain until the protection is activated. What kind of protection exactly? If you're in mortal danger, my blood will supposedly create a shield around you. I bandaged my palm. One-time use, unfortunately. Harry took my bandaged hand. You didn't have to do that. I wanted to. I met his eyes. With everything happening. I need to know you're protected. He leaned forward, kissing me softly. We protect each other. That's how this works. That night, I dreamed of Narcissa. She stood in a dark room, arguing with a tall, hooded figure. She's not ready, Narcissa insisted. The girl knows nothing of our ways. The Dark Lord grows impatient, the figure replied. The prophecy speaks of her power. He would harness it. She won't join willingly. Then unwillingly. Through her brother, perhaps. Narcissa's face hardened. You'll not use my children against each other. It's already begun, Narcissa. The boy's task ensures it. I woke gasping, the dream too vivid to be ordinary. Through the twin connection, I'd somehow glimpsed Draco's fears or Narcissa's reality, I couldn't tell which. Either way, it confirmed my suspicions that Voldemort had specific plans for both Malfoy children. December arrived with swirling snow and increasing tension. The cursed necklace investigation had stalled, but security remained tight. Dumbledore was frequently absent from the castle, leaving McGonagall in charge. Slughorn announced a Christmas party for his Slug Club, extending invitations to his favorite students, including Harry and me. Harry immediately asked me to accompany him, making our relationship official. People are going to talk, I warned him. Let them, he replied with a shrug. Everyone already thinks we're mental anyway. The night of the party, I dressed carefully in dark green dress robes that Narcissa had sent, a Christmas gift, her note said, though I suspected she also enjoyed the idea of me embracing Slytherin colors despite my Gryffindor placement. Harry waited in the common room, looking surprisingly handsome in dress robes of deep blue. He did a double take when he saw me. Wow, he said simply. Eloquent as always, Potter. You look beautiful, he amended, offering his arm. Even in Slytherin colors. My mother sent them, I admitted. Subtle, right? Very Malfoy. We laughed together as we headed to Slughorn's office, drawing curious glances from students we passed. The party was already in full swing when we arrived. Slughorn had decorated lavishly with enchanted snow and fairy lights. Harry, boy. Slughorn boomed, spotting us. And Miss Malfoy. What a handsome couple you make. He introduced us to various guests, including a vampire and several ministry officials who regarded me with poorly concealed curiosity. The Malfoy heir dating Harry Potter was evidently noteworthy gossip. Ignore them, Harry whispered as we escaped to a quieter corner. They've been staring at me for years. You get used to it. I doubt that, I replied, sipping punch. But I appreciate the solidarity. The evening progressed pleasantly until I spotted Draco being dragged into the party by Filch. "Caught this boy lurking in an upstairs corridor," Filch announced gleefully. "Says he was invited to your party." "I was not invited," Draco said, embarrassment and anger warring on his face. "I was trying to gatecrash." I moved toward him instinctively, but Harry caught my arm, shaking his head slightly. Snape stepped forward, offering to deal with Draco, and the two disappeared into the corridor. "I need to see what that's about," Harry whispered. "I'll come with you." We slipped out, following the sound of Snape's voice to an empty classroom. Pressing ourselves against the wall beside the door, we listened. "You cannot afford mistakes, Draco," Snape was saying. "If you are expelled, I didn't have anything to do with that necklace," Draco protested. "I hope you're telling the truth. Your mother made the unbreakable vow to protect you. I made the unbreakable vow to help you. If you continue to, I don't need your help. I was chosen for this." "Me? You are being reckless. The cursed necklace, the increasing suspicion, and now your sister, leave Cassie out of this." "The Dark Lord won't leave her out, you foolish boy. Her power grows daily. The prophecy, I don't care about prophecies." Draco's voice cracked. "Just let me handle this my way." Footsteps approached the door. Harry pulled me quickly into an alcove, where we pressed ourselves into shadows as Draco stormed past, followed moments later by a grim-faced Snape. "He's definitely up to something," Harry whispered once they were gone. "Something Voldemort ordered," I agreed. "And Snape knows about it. We need to tell Dumbledore." "Tell him what?" "That Draco has some mysterious task." "He probably already knows." Harry frowned. "I don't like this, Cassie. Snape mentioned your power, the prophecy. Voldemort has plans for both of you." "Let him plan," I said grimly. "I'm making my own choices." We returned to the party, but the festive atmosphere had evaporated for me. Draco was in danger, caught in Voldemort's web, and somehow my own destiny was intertwined with his fate. The next morning, I found Draco alone in the library, hunched over ancient books with dark circles under his eyes. I sat across from him without invitation. "We need to talk." "Not now, Cassie." "Yes, now." I cast a privacy charm around our table. "I heard you and Snape last night." Draco's head snapped up. "You were spying on me." I was concerned. "You look terrible, by the way." "Thanks," he said sarcastically. "Draco, whatever Voldemort's asked you to do, it's destroying you. Let me help." "You can't help." "Because I'm on the wrong side? Or because you're too proud to accept help?" "Because you'd be killed," he hissed. "Because Mother would be killed. Because some things are too dangerous to share, even with a twin." I reached across the table and grabbed his hand. Immediately, our connection flared, emotions and fragmented thoughts flowing between us. Determination. Fear. A broken cabinet. Dumbledore falling. A desperate plan. Draco yanked his hand away, but too late. Horror washed over me. "You're supposed to kill Dumbledore," I whispered. Panic filled his eyes. "You don't understand, I saw it, Draco. Through our connection. Then you know why I can't stop." His voice was hollow. "He'll kill all of us if I fail. There are other options. Dumbledore can protect you, protect Mother, no one can protect us from him." Draco stood abruptly. "Stay out of this, Cassie. For both our sakes." He stormed away, leaving his books behind. I glanced at them, texts on magical repair and transportation methods. Pieces clicked together, the vanishing cabinet I'd glimpsed in his thoughts, the cursed necklace meant for Dumbledore, Draco's increasing desperation. I had to act, but carefully. If I exposed Draco's plan, Voldemort would kill our mother. If I did nothing, Dumbledore might die and Draco would become a murderer. I needed more information, more power, more options. And I knew where to start. That afternoon, I approached Thorpe after class. I need to accelerate my training. He raised an eyebrow. Any particular reason? Voldemort's plans are advancing. I need to be ready. Thorpe studied me, then nodded slowly. Very well. We'll move to advanced applications immediately. Meet me tonight at 8. Meanwhile, I continued my blood magic practice, focusing on protective spells and communication methods that might help me reach Draco or Narcissa in an emergency. Harry noticed my intensity during our next practice session. What's going on with you? You've been distracted since the party. I hesitated, torn between trust and the danger of shared knowledge. I learned something about Draco's task. Something I can't ignore. Tell me. I can't. I met his eyes. It's not that I don't trust you, Harry. It's that this information puts people in danger. Including you. I'm already in danger, he pointed out. I'm Harry Potter, remember? Despite the seriousness, I smiled. Believe me, I'm aware of your celebrity status. Then let me help. Whatever Draco's planning, I need to handle this my way, I interrupted. Please, trust me on this. Harry clearly wasn't happy, but he nodded. Just promise you'll be careful. And that you'll tell me if you're going to do something reckless. Says the king of reckless decisions. Exactly. I recognize the signs. I kissed him quickly. I promise to be as careful as you would be. That's not very reassuring. It's the best I can offer right now. My session with Thorpe that night pushed me further than ever before. He had me disassemble and reconstruct complex curses, identifying weaknesses in their structures and creating counters on the fly. Your ability to perceive magical architecture is extraordinary, he commented as I neutralized a particularly nasty hex by altering its fundamental pattern. It's as if you see magic differently than most wizards. I do, I realized. I don't just see the effect, I see the underlying structure, like blueprints. A rare gift, especially combined with your wandless abilities and blood affinity. Thorpe paced thoughtfully. It's time you understood what makes your magic unique. The prophecy about you wasn't just about political choices, it was about magical evolution. What do you mean? Magic has been stagnating for centuries. We use the same spells, the same methods, with little innovation. But occasionally, a magical convergence occurs, bloodlines with complementary gifts combining to create something new. And I'm one of these convergences. The most significant in generations. Malfoy intuitive magic, black metamorphic potential, all activated by the twin bond and your unique upbringing outside traditional constraints. I considered this. So the prophecy isn't about choosing sides in Voldemort's war. Political conflicts are temporary. Magical evolution is eternal. Thorpe's eyes gleamed. Your power represents a potential bridge between old and new forms of magic, between bloodline gifts and innovative approaches. The ability to combine what purebloods value with what they fear. And that's why both sides want to control me. Precisely. Voldemort sees a powerful weapon. Dumbledore sees a symbol of unity. But you're neither, you're a catalyst for change in how magic itself functions. The implications were staggering. How do I use this? To help Draco, to stop what's coming. By embracing your unique perspective rather than conforming to either side's expectations. Thorpe handed me an ancient-looking book. Study this. It describes magical convergence theory from the perspective of those who experienced it. As I left his office, mind reeling with new possibilities, I nearly collided with Professor Snape in the corridor. Miss Malfoy. Another late-night lesson. Professor Thorpe is helping me understand my abilities. Snape's dark eyes assessed me. Be cautious what you reveal to him. Not all knowledge is shared with benevolent intent. You don't trust him. I trust very few people in these times. Including Draco? I asked pointedly. What exactly was that unbreakable vow you made about him? Snape stiffened. You would be wise to mind your own affairs. Draco is my affair. He's my brother. A relationship you've known about for mere months, Snape observed coldly. Yet you presume to understand his situation better than those who have protected him for years. Protected him? I laughed bitterly. By letting him take the mark. By watching him destroy himself trying to complete an impossible task. Snape grabbed my arm, pulling me into an empty classroom. Lower your voice, you foolish girl. The walls have ears. I know what Voldemort's ordered him to do, I said, quieter but no less intense. I know he's supposed to kill Dumbledore. Snape's face remained impassive, but something flickered in his eyes. How did you learn this? Twin connection. I saw it in his mind. He released my arm. Then you understand the precariousness of his position. Of your mother's position. Help me save him. There has to be a way, there is no easy solution, Snape interrupted. The Dark Lord has specifically chosen this task as punishment for your father's failures. It is designed to be impossible. Then Draco will die trying. Not if we are careful. Snape's voice softened marginally. I have sworn to protect him. And you, though you make it exceedingly difficult. The admission surprised me. Then tell me what to do. How to help him. For now, continue your training. Develop your abilities. And prepare yourself for difficult choices. His expression grew grim. The time approaches when you may need to choose between your brother and your other attachments. He swept away, leaving me with the disturbing sense that events were accelerating beyond my control. The castle emptied for Christmas holidays, but I remained at Hogwarts, unwilling to return to my guardian's empty house in America and unable to visit Malfoy Manor under the circumstances. Harry initially planned to visit the Weasleys but changed his mind at the last minute. I'm staying, he told me the night before students departed. You shouldn't be alone for Christmas. You don't have to do that. I want to. His expression was determined. Besides, we can use the time to practice more advanced magic without interruptions. Draco also remained, though he spent most of his time in the room of requirement working on what I now knew was the Vanishing Cabinet, his plan to allow Death Eaters into Hogwarts. I spent Christmas morning with Harry, exchanging modest gifts in the nearly empty Gryffindor common room. I gave him a handcrafted protective amulet I'd enhanced with blood magic. He gave me a delicate silver bracelet. It was my mother's, he explained as he fastened it around my wrist. Sirius gave it to me last year. He said she'd want it to go to someone special. Harry, I can't accept this, please. I want you to have it. His eyes met mine. It connects us, like your amulet connects us. The gesture moved me deeply. We spent the day together, walking the snowy grounds and enjoying the peace that came with an almost empty castle. That evening, an unexpected owl arrived bearing a small package wrapped in silver paper. The note attached read simply, "From Mother. Use it wisely." Inside was an ornate silver mirror small enough to fit in my palm. I recognized it from descriptions in the family magic book, a black family heirloom called a resonance mirror, used for secure communication between blood relatives. It's beautiful, Harry said, examining it. But what does it do? It's for communicating with family members. If I speak Narcissa's name while touching the glass with blood, it should connect to her matching mirror. Are you going to try it? I hesitated. Not yet. I need to think about what to say first. Later that night, alone in my dormitory, I pricked my finger and touched the mirror while whispering, Narcissa Malfoy. The glass rippled like water, then cleared to show my mother's face. Cassiopeia, she said, relief evident in her voice. You received my gift. Thank you. It's unexpected. These mirrors were my grandmother's. They're undetectable, unlike flu or other monitored communications. Her blue eyes studied me. You look well. Though troubled. I know about Draco's task, I said without preamble. I know what the Dark Lord has ordered him to do. Narcissa's composure faltered. How did you learn this? Twin connection. I saw it in his mind. She closed her eyes briefly. Then you understand the danger we face. I understand that Voldemort has set Draco up to fail. That this is punishment for Father's failure at the Ministry. Yes. Her voice was barely audible. And for my deception regarding you. That surprised me. He knows you saved me. He suspects. Your emergence has raised questions about who knew of your existence. Narcissa's face was tight with fear. He believes I deliberately hid you because of the prophecy. Did you? Because of what it said about me potentially destroying Pure Blood Society. I hid you to save your life, Narcissa replied firmly. The prophecy's meaning was secondary. You were my child, and Lucius wanted you eliminated. And now Voldemort wants to eliminate Draco. Or turn him into a murderer, which would destroy him just as surely. Narcissa leaned closer to the mirror. Listen carefully, Cassiopeia. The Dark Lord knows of your growing power. He intends to use Draco's situation to control you. How? By offering a bargain, your service in exchange for Draco's life. He believes the twin bond will force you to accept. Cold dread settled in my stomach. When? Soon. The vanishing cabinet nears completion. I need to stop this, I said desperately. Maybe if I talk to Dumbledore. Dumbledore already knows, Narcissa cut in. Severus has informed him of the basics, though not of your involvement. Then why hasn't he done anything? Because there are larger plans in motion. Her expression turned grave. Plans I'm not privy to, but that involve sacrifices none of us fully understand. I can't just wait for Draco to become a murderer or die trying. You must continue developing your unique abilities, Narcissa insisted. The blood magic I sent, the training with Thorpe, these prepare you for what's coming. Which is what, exactly? A moment of choice. When your power and your heart will be tested simultaneously. She glanced over her shoulder nervously. I must go. Use the mirror only in emergency from now on. It's too dangerous otherwise. Wait. How can I help Draco? Narcissa's eyes softened. Be there when the moment comes. Trust your instincts and your blood. Her image rippled and disappeared, leaving me staring at my own reflection. The remaining holiday passed in a blur of intensive training. I split my time between practicing blood magic with Harry, advanced magical theory with Thorpe, and attempting to reach Draco, who remained stubbornly isolated. He's getting worse, I told Harry after spotting Draco at dinner, looking gaunt and haunted. Whatever he's doing in the room of requirement, it's destroying him. We should follow him, find out exactly what he's working on, Harry suggested. I've tried. The room won't let me in when he's using it. He must be specifying that I'm excluded. Harry frowned. What about the Marauder's map? We could track his movements. He disappears from it when he's in the room, I reminded him. Besides, I already know what he's doing. I just don't know how to stop it. The solution came unexpectedly from Thorpe during our next lesson. Magical structures exist in layers, he explained as we worked on complex spell modification. The outer layer is the spell's effect, the middle layer is the channeling mechanism, and the core is the fundamental magical intent. So theoretically, you could change a spell's effect while keeping its core intent intact. Precisely. It's how counter curses work, they don't eliminate the original magic but redirect its expression. An idea began forming in my mind. Could you do the same with an enchanted object? Change its function without removing the enchantment? Thorpe looked intrigued. It's possible, though complex. The enchantment structure would need to be thoroughly understood first. Like a magical cabinet designed to transport things between matched pairs. His eyes sharpened. That's a very specific example, Miss Malfoy. Theoretical, I said quickly. Of course. He didn't look convinced. Theoretically, such an enchantment could be modified to change the destination or add conditions to the transportation. But it would require intimate knowledge of the original enchantment structure. Which I could perceive with my ability to see magical architectures, I concluded. Thorpe studied me carefully. This theoretical cabinet, its purpose would be significant, I imagine. Very. Then modifying it rather than disabling it might indeed be the wiser course. He pulled a book from his shelf. Study this. It describes the principles of redirecting established magical pathways. I took the book, hope rising for the first time in weeks. If I could modify the vanishing cabinet rather than disable it, I might save Draco without triggering Voldemort's wrath. The Death Eaters could still enter Hogwarts, but perhaps not where or when they expected. The challenge would be gaining access to the cabinet long enough to analyze and modify its enchantment. For that, I would need Draco's cooperation or distraction. When students returned from holidays, I finally cornered Draco after potions, catching him alone in the corridor. I know how to help with the cabinet, I said without preamble. He froze, looking around frantically. Not here. Then where? You've been avoiding me for weeks. For good reason. He pulled me into an empty classroom, casting privacy charms. Whatever you're thinking, forget it. I'm handling this. You're killing yourself, I retorted. And for what? A suicide mission? To protect Mother. To protect our family name. By becoming a murderer? By letting Death Eaters into a school full of children? Draco's face contorted. You think I want this? You think I have a choice? I'm offering you a choice, I said, lowering my voice. I can modify the cabinet's enchantment, change where it leads without disabling it. Hope flickered in his eyes before suspicion replaced it. How? I can see magical structures, remember? Professor Thorpe's been teaching me how to redirect established enchantments. Thorpe. Draco's suspicion deepened. You've told him about the cabinet? No. Just theoretical questions about modifying transportation magic. He paced anxiously. Even if you could change it, the Dark Lord would still kill Mother when the Death Eaters don't arrive where expected. Not if they still arrive, just somewhere we can contain them. Somewhere that looks like Hogwarts but isn't. That's impossible. It's not. The Room of Requirement itself can create convincing replicas of locations. My mind raced with possibilities. If we combine that capability with the cabinet's transportation. Draco looked torn between hope and fear. It's too risky. Riskier than your current plan? Than attempting to murder the most powerful wizard alive? He had no answer for that. Finally, he asked, what would you need? Access to the cabinet. Time to study its enchantment. The Death Eaters are expecting it to be ready within weeks. Greyback has already tested it with small objects. Then we need to move quickly. I gripped his arm. Draco, this could save you from becoming a murderer. From destroying your soul. Something in my words reached him. He nodded slowly. Tomorrow night. Midnight. I'll let you into the room. But Potter stays out of this. Harry knows I'm trying to help you. He doesn't know the details. Keep it that way, Draco insisted. The fewer people involved, the safer for everyone. As he left, I felt a flicker of hope amid the dread. For the first time since discovering my brother's impossible task, I had a plan that might save him without sacrificing others. But as events would soon prove, in war, no plan survives contact with the enemy, especially when the enemy is Lord Voldemort. Chapter 3, Blood and magic. The room of requirement materialized before me exactly at midnight, its door appearing in the previously blank wall. I slipped inside, wand at the ready, and found myself in a vast cathedral-like space packed with mountains of hidden objects, broken furniture, banned books, forgotten treasures, and contraband accumulated over centuries. "Draco?" I called softly. "Over here." His voice came from behind a towering stack of chairs. I followed the sound, winding through narrow passages between piles of discarded items, until I reached an open area where my brother stood beside an ornate black cabinet. Even from several feet away, I could sense the complex enchantment surrounding it, layers of magic like glowing architectural blueprints visible only to my perception. "This is it?" I asked, circling the cabinet cautiously. "The Vanishing Cabinet. Its twin is at Borgin and Burke's." Draco looked terrible, paler than usual, with dark shadows under his eyes. "I've nearly finished repairing it." I placed my hand near the wood without touching it, feeling the magic pulse. "The enchantment is old. Complicated. Can you modify it like you said?" "I need to understand its structure first." I pulled out my wand. "May I?" Draco nodded tensely. I cast a series of revealing charms, each designed to illuminate a different aspect of the cabinet's enchantment. Layers of magical architecture became visible to my specialized perception, transport paths, spatial folding, magical tethers connecting this cabinet to its twin. "It's beautiful," I murmured. "The spellwork is incredible." "It's a tool for murderers," Draco said bitterly. "Nothing beautiful about that. The magic itself isn't evil. Just its application." I continued my examination, identifying the core mechanism that created the spatial passage. "I think I can do this, but it'll take time. The pathways are intricate." "How much time?" 3 sessions, maybe 4. I need to map the entire structure before attempting modifications." Draco ran a hand through his hair, the same nervous gesture I often made. "We don't have much time. Aunt Bellatrix is pressuring me for updates. The Dark Lord is getting impatient. Then we work fast." I conjured a notebook and began sketching the magical architecture I perceived. "Tell me everything you know about how it functions." For the next 2 hours, I documented the cabinet's complex enchantment while Draco explained his repair process. The twin connection between us seemed to strengthen my perception. When our hands accidentally touched while examining a particular rune, I gained a flash of insight about the magical binding that I wouldn't have discovered otherwise. "It's like I can see through your eyes too," I said, surprised. "I felt that," Draco admitted. "Your magic, it enhances mine somehow. Twin resonance. It's in that book Mother sent." By the time we finished, I had a preliminary map of the cabinet's magical structure and a growing idea of how to modify it. "I'll need to consult some references," I told him as we prepared to leave. "There's a specific redirecting spell I remember reading about that might work." "Be careful what you research," Draco warned. "People are watching." "People are always watching." I squeezed his arm. "I'll meet you here tomorrow night." As I slipped back to Gryffindor Tower under a disillusionment charm, my mind raced with possibilities. The cabinet's magic was more elegant than I'd expected, not just a simple doorway but a sophisticated folding of space that created a direct passage between 2 fixed points. If I could alter the destination coordinates without disrupting the overall structure. Harry was waiting in the common room, pretending to read but obviously keeping vigil. He looked up when the portrait hole opened, though he couldn't see me until I cancelled the charm. "How'd it go?" he asked quietly. "I think I can do it." I sank onto the couch beside him. "The magic is complex but comprehensible. And Malfoy's cooperating. He's desperate for an alternative." I leaned against Harry's shoulder, suddenly exhausted. "You should have seen him, Harry. He's falling apart." Harry's arms circled my shoulders. "I still think we should tell Dumbledore. Snape says Dumbledore already knows. That there are larger plans in motion." And you trust Snape? I trust that he made an unbreakable vow to protect Draco. I yawned. And apparently me too, though that's working out great so far. Harry's fingers stroked my hair. Get some sleep. You look exhausted. Magical perception takes a lot out of me. I closed my eyes. Just 5 minutes. I must have fallen asleep right there, because the next thing I knew, sunlight was streaming through the windows and I was curled up on the common room couch with a blanket tucked around me. Harry had left a note saying he'd gone to breakfast and would see me in potions. The day passed in a blur of classes and surreptitious research. During my free period, I slipped into the restricted section with a pass from Thorpe, ostensibly researching advanced magical theory, but actually seeking information on redirecting spatial enchantments. I found what I needed in an ancient text called Manipulations of Magical Thoroughfares. The spell was complicated but followed principles Thorpe had already taught me. It would allow me to maintain the cabinet's function while altering its endpoint. That evening, I met with Thorpe for our regular lesson, careful to keep my specific plans hidden while seeking guidance on relevant magical principles. Theoretical question, I said as we worked on dismantling a complex curse. If you wanted to redirect a transportation enchantment without the caster knowing, would you modify the spatial coordinates or the tethering mechanism? Thorpe's eyes sharpened with interest. The tethering would be simpler but more detectable. Coordinate manipulation is complex but nearly impossible to discover without attempting travel. That's what I thought. I focused on the curse before us, changing the subject. This containment structure reminds me of something I saw in the book you lent me. Your grasp of magical architecture continues to impress, Thorpe observed. Few wizards ever develop such perception, even after decades of study. I'm a quick study. You're far more than that, Miss Malfoy. He set down his wand. Your abilities represent a fundamental shift in how magic can be approached, intuitive rather than formulaic, adaptive rather than fixed. That's what the prophecy meant by transcending blood, isn't it? Magic based on perception rather than rigid tradition. Precisely. Thorpe leaned forward. Which makes your choice of allegiance particularly significant. Both sides recognize your potential impact. I haven't chosen a side, I said carefully. I'm just trying to protect people I care about. A noble sentiment. But events are accelerating. Neutrality will soon become impossible. There was something in his tone, a hint of urgency beyond academic interest. I'd been so focused on Draco's task that I hadn't fully considered Thorpe's role in all this. Professor, who exactly do you represent? You mentioned a group that monitors magical phenomena, but you've never specified. For good reason. He studied me for a long moment. We are observers, primarily. The Council of Magical Preservation has existed for centuries, documenting magical evolution and occasionally intervening when necessary. Intervening how? By ensuring that significant magical developments aren't suppressed by political agendas. His expression grew serious. Your brother's task and your response to it represent exactly the kind of pivotal moment we monitor. A chill ran through me. You know about the cabinet. I know that Draco Malfoy has been tasked with providing Death Eater access to Hogwarts and assassinating Albus Dumbledore. I know you're attempting to modify the vanishing cabinet to redirect the intruders. He held up a hand as I reached for my wand. I have no intention of stopping you. How long have you known? Since December. My position here was always to observe you and your developing abilities. The cabinet situation merely adds urgency. Are you working with Dumbledore? I work with no faction in this conflict. My interest is purely in magical preservation and evolution. Thorpe stood, moving to a cabinet from which he extracted a small wooden box. Which is why I'm giving you this. He placed the box on the table between us. Inside lay a silver amulet inscribed with runes I didn't recognize. What is it? A magical focus. It will amplify your natural ability to perceive and modify magical structures. He pushed it toward me. You'll need it for what you're attempting with the cabinet. I didn't take it. Why help me? Because the path you're forging, finding a third option beyond the binary choices others present, represents exactly the kind of magical innovation the Council exists to protect. His eyes met mine. You see beyond traditional constraints. You combine bloodline gifts with new approaches. That potential must be preserved. Even if it means interfering in Voldemort's plans. The Council takes no position on political conflicts. We preserve magical knowledge and potential, regardless of who currently holds power. Thorpe's expression hardened slightly. But make no mistake, Voldemort's vision would stifle magical innovation, not enhance it. His obsession with blood purity blinds him to how magic actually evolves. I considered the amulet. If Thorpe was telling the truth, it could help me save Draco. If he was lying. How does it work? Place it against your skin when performing complex magical perception or modification. It acts as a conduit, reducing the personal magical drain and enhancing your natural abilities. Cautiously, I picked up the amulet. It felt warm against my palm, resonating with my magical signature. Thank you. I think. Use it wisely. Thorpe glanced at the clock. Our lesson is concluded for today. I suspect you have much to prepare. As I left his office, the amulet tucked securely in my pocket, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just been given a powerful tool by someone whose true agenda remained unclear. But with Draco's deadline approaching and lives at stake, I couldn't afford to refuse help, regardless of its source. I don't trust him, Harry said firmly when I showed him the amulet later that evening. We were in the room of requirement, which had transformed into a small practice space for us, complete with cushions and magical texts. Neither do I, completely, I admitted. But it resonates with my magic. I can feel it's genuine. That doesn't mean Thorpe's intentions are genuine. True. But at this point, I need every advantage. I turned the amulet over, studying the intricate runes. The cabinet's magic is incredibly complex. If this helps me modify it accurately. Just be careful. Harry took my free hand. This whole situation feels like it's spiraling out of control. It is. I squeezed his fingers. But we keep going anyway. Harry sighed, then nodded. I've been thinking, if you're redirecting Death Eaters, we need to be ready when they arrive. We should alert the DA. No specifics, I cautioned. Just, emergency preparedness. Agreed. We spent the next hour testing the amulet's effects on my magical perception. With it pressed against my skin, I could see magical structures with unprecedented clarity, the spells on the practice dummies, the enchantments woven into the room itself, even the residual magic from previous spells cast in the space. It's incredible, I breathed. Like switching from candlelight to sunlight. Your eyes change when you use it, Harry observed. They glow slightly. Really? I conjured a mirror and saw he was right, my violet eyes had taken on a subtle luminescence. That's not conspicuous at all. Honestly, with everything else going on, glowing eyes are the least of our concerns. I laughed despite the tension. Fair point. Later that night, I met Draco at the cabinet again. With Thorpe's amulet against my skin beneath my robes, I could perceive the cabinet's enchantment in extraordinary detail, every magical thread, every spatial fold, every connection to its twin. I can see how to do this now, I told Draco, tracing the magical pathways with my wand. We need to maintain the connection to the twin cabinet but redirect the exit point. To where? A sealed room in the dungeons. I've already prepared it with enchantments that will make it appear to be a Hogwarts corridor initially, but it's actually a containment space. When the Death Eaters emerge, they'll be trapped. They'll kill me when they realize, Draco said dully. Not if they never realize it was intentional. I began the delicate work of modifying the spatial coordinates. We'll make it look like they were betrayed by someone else, Snape, maybe. He's got enough ambiguity around his loyalty that it's plausible. For 3 hours, I worked on the cabinet's enchantment, carefully unwinding and reworking the magical threads that defined its destination. Draco assisted, his magical signature harmonizing with mine through our twin connection, strengthening the modifications. Finally, I stepped back, exhausted but satisfied. It's done. When they come through, they'll emerge in the dungeons, not the room of requirement. How do we test it? We don't, I said firmly. Any test might alert them that something's changed. The modification is designed to be undetectable until activated. Draco looked sick with worry. If this fails, it won't. I gripped his shoulders. Trust me. Trust our magic. He nodded, though fear still shadowed his eyes. The signal to come through will be given tomorrow night. Dumbledore's leaving the castle again, it's the perfect opportunity. Then we need to be ready. I hugged him briefly. Get some sleep. You look terrible. Thanks, he said with a ghost of a smile. You're not exactly fresh as a daisy yourself. The price of genius magical innovation. I started toward the door, then paused. Draco? Whatever happens tomorrow, you're not alone anymore. His expression softened momentarily. I know. I spent the following day in a state of barely contained nervous energy. After classes, I met briefly with Harry, Ron, and Hermione to outline our contingency plan. I can't explain everything, I told them, but there's a strong possibility Death Eaters will attempt to enter Hogwarts tonight. How do you know? Hermione demanded. I just do. Trust me. Ron looked skeptical. And we're supposed to what, wait for them to show up? No, we're supposed to be prepared, Harry interjected. Alert the DAs, set up patrols. Have Felix Felicis ready to share. The Death Eaters won't be appearing where they expect to, I explained. They'll be contained, but we need to be ready in case something goes wrong. Hermione studied my face. This has to do with Draco's task, doesn't it? I neither confirmed nor denied it. Just be ready. Harry has the Marauders map, use it to monitor movement in the castle. If you see anything suspicious, send a Patronus. What will you be doing? Harry asked. Monitoring the situation from another angle. I touched his arm. Be careful. All of you. As dusk approached, I positioned myself near the room of requirement, disillusioned and waiting for Draco. He arrived looking deathly pale, hands shaking as he paced before the blank wall. When the door appeared, I followed him inside. The cabinet stood ready, its dark surface gleaming in the dim light. Greyback just sent a message through, Draco said, voice barely audible. They're coming in 30 minutes. When Dumbledore's departure is confirmed. Stick to the plan, I told him. Let them come through. Act normally. I'll monitor from hiding to ensure the redirection works. And after? When they realize they're trapped. Get yourself to safety. Claim ignorance. Say the cabinet must have malfunctioned. He nodded jerkily. Cassie, if something goes wrong, it won't. But if it does, he insisted, tell Mother I tried. Tell her I'm sorry. Tell her yourself, I said firmly. This will work. We waited in tense silence. I positioned myself behind a large broken wardrobe, disillusioned again, Thorpe's amulet warm against my skin as I monitored the cabinet's magic. After what felt like eternity, the cabinet door trembled. Draco straightened, wand clutched tightly. Remember, maintain the act until they're through, I whispered. The cabinet door swung open. Nothing happened. Seconds ticked by, and still nothing emerged. Draco looked back at my hidden position, confusion evident. Then, without warning, black smoke poured from the cabinet, coalescing into the form of Bellatrix Lestrange. She was followed immediately by 4 more Death Eaters, but they weren't appearing in the dungeons as planned. They were here, in the room of requirement. My modification had failed. Draco, darling, Bellatrix crooned, stepping forward. You've done it. The Dark Lord will be so pleased. Draco's face was a mask of panic barely hidden beneath forced calm. Aunt Bella. You're here. Of course we're here. She looked around suspiciously. Did you expect us somewhere else? No, the cabinet was unstable. I wasn't sure it would work properly. Yet here we are. Another Death Eater stepped forward, Dolohov, I recognized from wanted posters. Now, where's Dumbledore? He left the castle, Draco said, recovering slightly. We should move quickly before anyone notices you. Lead the way, nephew. Bellatrix gestured grandly. Your moment of glory awaits. As Draco led them toward the exit, I remained frozen behind the wardrobe, mind racing. How had they bypassed my redirection? The modification had been perfect, I'd felt it take hold of the cabinet's magic. Unless someone had counteracted it. Someone who knew what I was attempting. I slipped out after the Death Eaters left, heart pounding. I needed to warn Harry, alert the Order members. The plan had failed, and now Hogwarts was under attack from within. Disillusioned, I raced through corridors, hearing distant shouts and the sound of spellfire. The attack had already begun. I needed to find Harry, but how? The blood protection spell. Months ago, I'd cast Cruer Protegat Delectum on Harry, creating a link between us. I'd never activated it, but theoretically, I could use it to locate him. I ducked into an empty classroom, sliced my palm with my wand, and whispered, Cruer Inveniat. The droplets of blood hovered in the air, then formed an arrow pointing upward. The Astronomy Tower. Of course, the highest point in the castle, where Draco was supposed to complete his task if Dumbledore returned. I raced toward the tower, the sounds of battle growing louder. Flashes of light illuminated corridors as duels erupted between Death Eaters and defenders. I caught glimpses of Order members, Lupin casting shields around younger students, Tonks dueling a masked figure. At the base of the Astronomy Tower, I encountered Neville and Luna defending a group of terrified second-years. Cassie. Luna called as I cancelled my disillusionment. Death Eaters are in the castle. I know. Where's Harry? He went up the tower, Neville panted, ducking a curse. Dumbledore returned, they're both up there. With Draco and the Death Eaters, I realized with horror. I need to get up there. There's some kind of barrier, Luna warned. We can't get through. I approached the tower stairs and felt the magic blocking access, a powerful ward that repelled anyone attempting to ascend. But as I touched it, Thorpe's amulet warmed against my skin, and I could see the structure of the spell, a Death Eater specialty designed to admit only those with the dark mark. Without hesitating, I pulled out my silver knife and cut my palm deeper than before. Cruer Vinculum. I pressed my bleeding hand against the barrier, focusing on my connection to Draco. Our shared blood, our twin magic. The barrier rippled, recognizing the Malfoy bloodline connected to a dark mark, and allowed me passage. Stay here. I called to Neville and Luna. Protect the younger students. I raced up the spiral stairs, the sounds of conflict fading behind me. At the top, I paused, catching my breath and listening. Voices drifted from the observation platform, Dumbledore's calm tones, Draco's frightened responses, and then Harry's voice, though I couldn't see him. Peering around the doorway, I saw Dumbledore leaning against the ramparts, looking weaker than I'd ever seen him. Draco stood before him, wand raised but shaking violently. No sign of Harry, though I distinctly heard his voice. Then I understood, the invisibility cloak. Harry was hidden, immobilized perhaps, watching as Draco faced his impossible task. I remained concealed, assessing the situation. Draco was supposed to kill Dumbledore, but he clearly couldn't bring himself to do it. The Death Eaters would arrive any moment to witness his failure. I needed a plan, fast. The solution came in a flash of inspiration, desperate, dangerous, but possible with my unique abilities. A split consciousness spell I'd read about in Thorpe's advanced texts, combined with the twin connection to Draco. Theoretically, I could project part of my consciousness into Draco's mind, helping him maintain the pretense for the Death Eaters while simultaneously warning Harry. It was incredibly risky, the spell was ancient, barely tested, and could leave both Draco and me mentally damaged if it went wrong. But with Dumbledore's life and Draco's future at stake, I had no choice. I pressed Thorpe's amulet firmly against my skin with one hand while the other clutched my bleeding palm. Mens divisa, I whispered. Gemini connexus. Pain split my skull like lightning as my consciousness tore in two. One part remained in my body, slumped against the wall, the other flowed into Draco through our twin connection, a ghostly passenger in his mind. Draco, it's Cassie. Don't react. I'm using twin magic to reach you. Keep your wand on Dumbledore but don't cast. I'll find Harry. I felt his shock, then understanding. Meanwhile, my physical body pushed away from the wall, moving with dreamlike slowness toward where I sensed Harry's presence. My vision was split, seeing through Draco's eyes while simultaneously navigating my own body. Do it, Draco, Dumbledore was saying gently. Or are you afraid? I'm not afraid. Draco insisted, though we both knew it was a lie. Through our connection, I felt his terror, his revulsion at what he was being forced to do. I reached Harry's invisible form, finding him frozen under a powerful immobilization spell. My fingers brushed what felt like fabric, and I whispered the counter-curse. Immediately, I sensed movement beneath the cloak. Harry, it's Cassie. Don't reveal yourself yet. Death Eaters are coming. Be ready. I couldn't hear his response, the split consciousness spell only connected me to Draco, but I felt Harry shift slightly, acknowledging my presence. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. The Death Eaters had broken through the Order's defenses and were coming to witness Draco's task. They're coming, I warned Draco. Keep your wand up. Stall. Through Draco's eyes, I watched as Bellatrix burst onto the platform, followed by the others. Her face lit with malicious glee at the sight of Dumbledore cornered. Well done, Draco, she crowed. The Dark Lord chose well. Do it, boy, urged Greyback, licking his lips obscenely. He doesn't have the stomach, another Death Eater sneered. Just like his father. I'll do it, Draco said, but his wand hand trembled violently. The strain of maintaining the split consciousness was becoming unbearable. Pain lanced through both my physical head and my projected awareness. I couldn't hold the connection much longer. Through Draco's eyes, I saw Snape arrive, his black eyes taking in the scene in an instant. Severus, Dumbledore said softly. Please. Something passed between them, an understanding beyond words. Snape raised his wand, pointing it at Dumbledore. Avada Kedavra. Green light erupted, striking Dumbledore squarely in the chest. The headmaster's body arced gracefully over the ramparts, falling into the darkness below. Horror overwhelmed me, breaking my concentration. The split consciousness spell shattered, snapping my awareness fully back into my own body with such force that I cried out in pain. The sound drew attention. Bellatrix whirled, spotting me as I staggered against the wall. The twin, she shrieked in delight. Narcissa's lost daughter. The Dark Lord will reward us doubly tonight. Spells flew at me from multiple directions. I dropped to the floor, rolling behind a stone column, while raising a wandless shield that barely deflected the worst of the curses. Cassie! Draco shouted, breaking his frozen state. Bring her, Snape commanded, grabbing Draco's arm. The girl too. The Dark Lord wants both Malfoy children. Harry threw off the invisibility cloak, rage contorting his features. Stupefy, he bellowed, aiming at Snape. Snape deflected the spell effortlessly. Run, Potter, he snapped. This doesn't concern you. You killed him. Harry roared, advancing. You murdered Dumbledore. More spells flew. I scrambled to my feet, throwing shields between Harry and the Death Eaters, while Snape dragged Draco toward the stairs. "Take the girl," he ordered Greyback, who lunged for me with inhuman speed. I slashed my wand, sending him crashing into a wall, but Dolohov caught me from behind, wrapping a powerful arm around my throat. "Harry!" I choked out, struggling against Dolohov's grip. Harry battled furiously toward me, but Bellatrix blocked his path, cackling as she sent curse after curse at him. "Two for the price of one," Dolohov growled in my ear. "The Dark Lord will be pleased." I stopped struggling and went limp, as if surrendering. The moment his grip loosened slightly, I focused on the blood still flowing from my palm and whispered, "Crua repellat." My blood ignited with power, creating a concussive blast that threw Dolohov backwards. The force sent me tumbling too, nearly over the edge of the tower, but Harry lunged and caught my arm. "I've got you," he gasped, pulling me back from the brink. Bellatrix shrieked in frustration, firing a killing curse that missed us by inches. "Kill Potter. Take the girl." The Death Eaters closed in. We were cornered, outnumbered. "Trust me," I whispered to Harry, pressing Thorpe's amulet against my bleeding palm. I closed my eyes, visualizing the magical architecture around us, the tower's ancient stones, the lingering protections Dumbledore had established, the raw power of the battle magic saturating the air. With the amulet enhancing my perception, I could see how these elements could be woven together. Cruer scutum selectivum. My blood rose in a spiraling mist, expanding outward to form a dome that enclosed Harry and me. The Death Eaters' curses struck it and were absorbed rather than deflected, the dome turning their own dark magic into additional power. "What is this magic?" Bellatrix screeched, casting spell after spell that only strengthened my shield. "Blood magic," I heard Snape say from the stairwell, his voice tinged with what might have been respect. "Ancient family protection. Don't waste your energy, we need to leave now. The order is coming." "Not without the girl," Bellatrix argued. The Dark Lord will understand tactical retreat," Snape cut her off. "The castle is alerted. Take Draco and go." Through the translucent red dome, I saw Snape's eyes meet mine briefly before he pushed Draco down the stairs, the other Death Eaters following reluctantly. When they were gone, I released the shield, nearly collapsing from the magical drain. Harry caught me, supporting my weight. "That was incredible," he said. "What was it?" "Blood shield. Selective permeability." My voice sounded distant to my own ears. "Only let certain magic through. Dark magic powers it instead." "Cassie, you're bleeding too much." Harry pressed his hand against my still flowing palm. "We need to get you to the hospital wing." "Draco," I mumbled. "They took Draco." "We'll find him," Harry promised, though we both knew it might not be true. "But first, you need healing." He helped me down the stairs, where we found chaos. The barrier had fallen with the Death Eaters' retreat, and Order members were rushing up to the tower. McGonagall's face went white with shock when Harry told her about Dumbledore. "Take Miss Malfoy to Madame Pomfrey," she instructed him, visibly struggling to maintain composure. "Then come to my office." The hospital wing was crowded with the injured. Bill Weasley lay unconscious, his face savaged by Greyback. Neville was being treated for a broken arm. Luna sat beside them, applying essence of Deepening to various cuts. Madame Pomfrey hustled over when she saw my bleeding hand. "Another one. Sit down before you collapse, Miss Malfoy." "Blood magic," I explained weakly as she examined the wound. "Used too much." She clicked her tongue disapprovingly. "Dangerous business, blood magic. Especially for one so young." "It saved our lives," Harry said defensively. "And nearly cost hers, by the look of it." She forced a blood-replenishing potion down my throat, then began complex healing charms on my palm. "The cut itself isn't severe, but the magical drain is significant. She needs rest." I need to find Draco, I insisted, trying to stand. You need to lie down before you fall down, Madame Pomfrey countered, gently but firmly pushing me onto a bed. The Order is handling the situation. They took him to Voldemort, I told Harry desperately. He failed his task. They'll kill him. Snape killed Dumbledore, not Draco, Harry reminded me, his voice tight with suppressed rage. He fulfilled the task. But the cabinet, they know something went wrong. They were supposed to arrive in a different location. Understanding dawned on Harry's face. Someone countered your modification. Thorpe, I realized with sudden certainty. It had to be. The amulet, it helped me see the magic, but it must have let him monitor what I was doing too. The defense teacher. Madame Pomfrey interjected. He disappeared right after the Death Eaters arrived. Flitwick went to alert him and found his office empty. I closed my eyes, piecing together the betrayal. He wasn't just observing. He was ensuring Voldemort's plan succeeded while helping me develop my abilities. Probably reporting everything back to his council. Or directly to Voldemort, Harry suggested grimly. No. He meant what he said about magical preservation. He just didn't care who got hurt in the process. I struggled to sit up. I need to find him. He knows where they've taken Draco. You're not going anywhere, Madame Pomfrey said firmly. The magical exhaustion could cause permanent damage if not treated properly. She's right, Harry squeezed my hand. I'll find McGonagall, tell her about Thorpe. Harry. I caught his arm. Dumbledore. I'm so sorry. Pain flashed across his face. Snape betrayed us all. He was working for Voldemort all along. I wasn't so sure. I'd seen the look that passed between Snape and Dumbledore, a silent communication that suggested something more complex than simple betrayal. But now wasn't the time to debate it. Be careful, I told him. Voldemort wanted both Malfoy children. He might come after me next. Not while I'm around, Harry promised, his green eyes fierce with protective determination. After he left, I lay back, desperately trying to think of a way to reach Draco. Our twin connection had strengthened significantly during the split consciousness spell, perhaps I could use it to locate him, even communicate. I closed my eyes, focusing on that connection, feeling for the thread that linked us by blood and birth. At first, there was nothing. Then, faintly, I sensed fear, pain, desperate regret. Draco was alive but terrified. Concentrating harder, I tried to project a thought, I'm coming for you. Hold on. Whether he received it, I couldn't tell. The effort drained what little energy I had left, and darkness claimed me. I woke to chaos. The hospital wing was overflowing with people, Order members, staff, students. Sunlight streamed through the windows, I'd been unconscious for hours. She's awake, someone said, and Hermione appeared at my bedside. What happened? I asked groggily. Where's Harry? With McGonagall. They found Thorpe's quarters empty except for this. She handed me a note written in Thorpe's precise handwriting, Miss Malfoy, the Council has observed enough. Your abilities confirm our theories about magical evolution beyond blood constraints. The coming conflict will determine whether such evolution continues or is suppressed for another generation. The amulet was genuine, a gift in recognition of your potential. Use it wisely. In times of greatest need, blood will tell. Some help, I muttered, crumpling the note. What about Draco? Hermione's expression turned sympathetic. There's been no word. The Order believes the Death Eaters took him to Malfoy Manor, which has been placed under the Fidelius charm. They can't access it. I pushed myself upright, ignoring the wave of dizziness. I can. Cassie, you're in no condition, I'm a Malfoy, I interrupted. Blood access transcends the Fidelius. It's in the family magic book. Even if that's true, you can't just walk into a house full of Death Eaters. Watch me. Before she could stop me, I swung my legs over the side of the bed. The room tilted alarmingly, but I forced myself to stand. My hand was healed, though a thin silver scar remained where I'd cut it repeatedly for blood magic. "Where's my wand?" I demanded, looking around. "Madame Pomfrey has it. She said you weren't to perform magic for at least 24 hours. Not helpful, Hermione." She bit her lip, clearly torn between concern and understanding. "Harry said you'd try this. He told me to give you this if you insisted on being stupid." She handed me the tiny vial of Felix Felicis. Only a few golden drops remained. "He kept this for you," she continued. "Said if anyone needed luck, it would be you." The gesture touched me deeply. "Where is he now?" "Meeting with the Order. Planning." She hesitated. "Planning Dumbledore's funeral." Reality crashed back. Dumbledore was dead. The greatest wizard of the age, gone. And with him, perhaps our best hope against Voldemort. "I need to get to Malfoy Manor," I said, more quietly. "Draco's in danger. I can feel it through our connection." Hermione studied me for a long moment, then sighed. "I can't stop you, can I?" "No. Then at least don't go alone." She stood. "Let me get Harry and Ron." "There's no time, 10 minutes, she insisted. "That's all I'm asking. 10 minutes to make a plan instead of rushing in blindly." She was right, of course. Much as I wanted to race to Draco's aid immediately, I needed allies and a strategy. 10 minutes, I agreed. And my wand. While Hermione went to find the others, I drank the blood-replenishing potion Madame Pomfrey had left by my bed and assessed my condition. The magical exhaustion lingered, a bone-deep fatigue that made even simple movements difficult. But I could function, and with Felix Felicis, I might have the edge I needed. Harry arrived minutes later, looking haggard but determined. Ron and Luna followed, the latter surprising me. "I invited Luna," Harry explained, seeing my expression. "We need unconventional thinking for this. And I'm very good at finding hidden things," Luna added serenely. Hermione returned with my wand and a bundle of clothes. "Changed your clothes while they were coming. That hospital gown wasn't doing you any favors." "Thanks." I dressed quickly behind a privacy screen, listening as Harry outlined what they knew. The Death Eaters retreated to Malfoy Manor with Draco. Snape went with them. The Order can't breach the property due to multiple protective enchantments, including what they believe is a Fidelius charm with Voldemort as secret keeper. "But Cassie thinks she can get in because of blood rights," Hermione continued. "I don't think, I know," I corrected, emerging from behind the screen. Malfoy family magic includes blood access privileges that supersede most protective enchantments on Malfoy properties. Even those cast by Voldemort? Ron looked skeptical. "The original protections were established centuries ago by my ancestors. They're woven into the foundation stones." I touched Thorpe's amulet, which I'd kept despite his betrayal. With this enhancing my perception, I should be able to find and use those access points. "Should?" Ron repeated. "Nothing's guaranteed," I acknowledged. "But it's Draco's best chance. And..." I hesitated, then decided they deserved the full truth. "I think Voldemort is using him as bait to draw me in." "Why?" Harry asked sharply. "The prophecy. My mother told me Voldemort's been interested in my magical potential since he learned of my existence. He believes I could be a powerful asset, or a significant threat. So it's a trap," Ron concluded. "Almost certainly." "Then you can't go," Harry said firmly. "I have to. He's my brother, Harry. If it were serious, wouldn't you go?" It was a low blow, reminding him of rushing to the Department of Mysteries to save his godfather. Harry flinched but didn't back down. That was different. "How?" "Sirius wasn't a Death Eater. Neither is Draco, not really, I argued. He was coerced. Threatened. He didn't want any of this. He still took the mark, Ron pointed out. To protect our mother. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to calm down. Look, I'm going with or without your help. But I'd rather have you with me. Harry ran a hand through his hair in frustration. It's too dangerous. We're talking about walking into Voldemort's headquarters. Actually, Luna interjected dreamily, we're talking about creating a very specific, very temporary breach in the protective enchantments using Cassie's blood connection, extracting her brother, and leaving before anyone realizes what's happened. We all stared at her. That's exactly what I was thinking, I admitted. Luna smiled. Great minds think alike. Or perhaps it's the Raxperts encouraging strategic thinking. Despite everything, I laughed. Either way, that's the plan. Get in, get Draco, get out. No confrontations with Voldemort, no heroics. And if Voldemort's there? Harry pressed. Then we adapt, I said simply. But the Felix Felicis should help us avoid him. Harry looked conflicted, torn between protecting me and understanding my need to save my brother. Finally, he nodded. Fine. But we do this carefully. Ron, Hermione, and Luna create a distraction outside the property boundaries. You and I go in for Draco, using your blood connection to locate him. I'll need to physically touch the manor's boundary to activate the blood access, I explained. Once inside, I should be able to sense Draco's location through our twin connection, especially if I use blood magic to enhance it. And how do we get to Wiltshire in the first place? Ron asked practically. It's not exactly around the corner. Apparition, Harry suggested. None of us can legally apparate yet, Hermione reminded him. And the strain could kill Cassie in her current condition. The Thestrals, Luna offered. They're very fast, and they can find almost any location. It was decided. While the others gathered supplies, healing potions, defensive items from Fred and George's shop, communication methods, I prepared for the blood magic I would need to perform. The Felix Felicis would have to wait until the last moment to maximize its effect. As we slipped out of the castle under Harry's invisibility cloak, I caught glimpses of the aftermath of battle, broken windows, scorch marks on walls, professors reinforcing protective charms. The school felt wounded, vulnerable without Dumbledore's presence. The Thestrals waited at the edge of the forbidden forest, visible to all of us now that we'd witnessed death. Their skeletal forms and leathery wings would have been unsettling under normal circumstances. Today, they seemed like appropriate transportation for our grim mission. We fly to the borders of Malfoy property, Harry reminded everyone as we mounted. Stay together, stay alert. If anything goes wrong, we retreat immediately. Agreed? Everyone nodded solemnly. I uncorked the Felix Felicis, dividing the few remaining drops between us. Not much, but it's better than nothing. The liquid gold tasted of hope and possibility. Immediately, I felt a subtle shift in perception, not euphoria, but a sense that success was not just possible but probable. Let's go, I said, suddenly certain this was exactly the right moment to depart. The Thestrals took flight, invisible to anyone watching from below. As we soared over the Scottish countryside, I felt the twin connection to Draco strengthen. He was alive but in pain. Voldemort was punishing him for his failure. The journey passed in tense silence. Within 2 hours, we were circling above the expansive grounds of Malfoy Manor. From the air, it looked like an imposing stone fortress surrounded by elaborate gardens and a high hedge. Dark clouds gathered unnaturally above it, a physical manifestation of the evil that had taken residence there. Land in those trees, I directed, pointing to a copse about half a mile from the property boundary. We'll approach on foot from there. The Thestrals descended silently, bringing us down among ancient oaks that provided excellent cover. We dismounted, gathering close to finalize our plan. Ron, Hermione, Luna, create your distraction at the main gates, Harry instructed. Nothing that puts you in direct danger. Just enough to draw attention away from the east boundary where we'll enter. Decoy detonators and a few controlled fires should do it, Ron suggested. Make them think there's a larger force. Be careful, I told them seriously. If anything feels wrong, get out immediately. What about you two? Hermione asked worriedly. How will you know if Draco's even alone? He could be in the same room as V. Voldemort. The twin connection, I explained. It's strongest when we're close. I can sense not just his presence but his surroundings to some degree. And if he's being guarded? I touched my wand. Then we handle it. We synchronized our watches and separated, Ron, Hermione, and Luna heading for the main gates while Harry and I moved toward the eastern boundary. The Felix Felicis guided our path, suggesting routes that kept us hidden from the occasional patrols of Death Eaters walking the perimeter. As we neared the massive hedge that marked the property line, I felt the layers of protective enchantments like a tangible pressure against my skin. Here, I whispered, stopping at a section of hedge that looked no different from the rest but felt right somehow. This is where we cross. I pressed my hand against the foliage, feeling for the magical architecture beneath. With Thorpe's amulet enhancing my perception, I could see the intricate layers of protection, anti-intruder jinxes, detection wards, the misty veil of the Fidelius, and beneath it all, the ancient blood-bound protections established by the first Malfoys. There, I murmured, identifying a thread of magic that resonated with my own signature. The blood access point. I drew my silver knife, the same one I'd used for previous blood magic, and cut my palm along the still fresh scar. Pressing the bleeding wound against the hedge, I whispered, Cruere prio. Malfoy sanguis reclamo. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the hedge trembled, its densely packed branches parting to create an opening just wide enough for a person to slip through. Beyond it, I could see the manor grounds, and feel the absence of protective enchantments in a corridor roughly 2 meters wide. It worked, Harry breathed. The opening will only last minutes, I warned. And only those I invite can pass. I reached back, taking his hand. Harry Potter, blood of my heart, I grant you passage through Malfoy boundaries. A spark of magic sealed the invitation, and together we stepped through the hedge onto Malfoy property. The moment we crossed, I felt a surge of connection to Draco, stronger, more directional. He's in the cellars, I whispered. Eastern section. And he's alone. From the direction of the main gates came the sound of explosions, our friends creating their distraction. Dark figures raced across the grounds toward the commotion, exactly as we'd hoped. This way, I murmured, leading Harry along the shadows of a neatly trimmed topiary garden toward a side entrance of the manor. The door was locked but yielded to a silent Alohomora. The blood access had temporarily recognized me as an authorized Malfoy, bypassing the need for more complex unlocking methods. We slipped into a darkened corridor lined with portraits of Malfoy ancestors. Several awoke as we passed, eyes widening at the sight of me. The lost daughter, one ancient wizard murmured. The prophecy unfolds. I ignored them, focusing on the pull of the twin connection. Down these stairs, I whispered to Harry. The cellars are extensive. Stay close. The manor's cellars were colder and damper than I'd expected, stone passages leading in multiple directions. The connection guided me unerringly through the labyrinth until we reached a heavy wooden door reinforced with iron. He's in there, I said softly. I can feel his presence. Harry raised his wand, ready to blast the door open, but I stopped him. Wait. There might be alarms. I examined the door's enchantments, finding multiple nasty curses designed to alert the caster if breached. Thorpe's lessons are finally proving useful. Carefully, I unwound the alarm spells while leaving the locking mechanism intact. When the last detection charm fell, I used a simple unlocking spell to open the door. Draco sat huddled in the corner of a small stone cell, his fine clothes torn and bloody. He looked up in shock as we entered. Cassie, he croaked, disbelieving. Potter? What are you, rescuing you, I said, rushing to his side. Can you walk? It's a trap, he said urgently. You shouldn't have come. The Dark Lord isn't here, I finished. I can't sense his presence anywhere nearby. The Felix Felicis guided us to a moment when he's absent. Felix. Draco looked confused. Liquid luck, Harry explained tersely. Can you stand or not? Draco struggled to his feet with my help. They've got monitoring charms all over the house. The moment we leave this cell, already handled, I assured him, pointing to Thorpe's amulet. I can see and dismantle the detection wards as we go. Hope flickered in Draco's eyes. You really think we can get out? I know we can. I supported his weight as he limped toward the door. Harry, watch our backs. Retracing our steps through the cellar was slower with Draco injured, but the Felix Felicis continued to guide our path, helping us avoid the few Death Eaters who hadn't responded to the distraction at the gates. We had nearly reached the side entrance when the luck potion's effect abruptly faded. I felt it vanish like a candle being snuffed out. Simultaneously, slow clapping echoed from the shadows ahead. Impressive, said Professor Thorpe, stepping into view. Truly extraordinary magic, Miss Malfoy. Harry and I raised our wands simultaneously. Draco stiffened beside me. The council representative, he spat. I should have known you were behind this. Behind what, exactly? Thorpe asked mildly. You countered my modifications to the vanishing cabinet, I accused. You made sure the Death Eaters arrived exactly where Voldemort wanted them. I ensured events progressed as required for the prophecy to unfold, Thorpe corrected. The Dark Lord's plan and my observations simply happened to align temporarily. Get out of our way, Harry demanded. Or what, Mr. Potter? You'll attack me? I'm not your enemy. You helped kill Dumbledore. I helped maintain the natural course of magical evolution, Thorpe replied calmly. Dumbledore's death was regrettable but necessary for what comes next. Which is what? I asked, keeping my wand trained on him while supporting Draco. The fulfillment of your prophecy, of course. Thorpe gestured toward a different corridor. The Death Eaters will discover your presence momentarily. If you wish to escape, follow me. I know a way out that bypasses their detection. Why would you help us now? I demanded. Because the council has what it needed, confirmation of your unprecedented abilities. The blood magic you performed today has exceeded all expectations. He smiled slightly. And because the next phase requires you to be free, not captured by the Dark Lord. Every instinct warned against trusting him, but the distant shouts from the main part of the house suggested our distraction was ending. We were running out of options. Harry? I asked quietly. I don't trust him, Harry muttered. But we need to get out, fast. This way, Thorpe said, turning down a narrow passage I hadn't noticed before. Quickly. Making a split-second decision, I followed, still supporting Draco with Harry covering our rear. The passage twisted deeper into the manor before unexpectedly ascending through what appeared to be an old servant's staircase. Where are we going? I asked as we climbed. To a family secret even you don't know about, Thorpe replied. A transportation room used by Malfoys for generations to escape in emergencies. I've never heard of it, Draco said suspiciously. Your father wouldn't have shared such knowledge. He preferred control over safety. The staircase ended at a small landing with a simple wooden door. Thorpe gestured for me to approach it. Blood access, like the boundary. Only a Malfoy can open it. I hesitated, then pressed my still bleeding palm against the door. Cruere prio, I whispered again. The door dissolved, revealing a circular chamber with strange runes carved into the stone floor and walls. In the center stood a raised dais with what looked like a smaller version of the vanishing cabinet. A transportation nexus, Thorpe explained. Connected to safe locations established by your ancestors. It will bypass all the manor's current protections. Where will it take us? Harry asked. Wherever Miss Malfoy directs it. The magic responds to intent and blood. Thorpe stepped back. I fulfilled my obligation to the council. The rest is up to you. What obligation? I demanded. To ensure the prophecy has its fair chance to unfold. He met my eyes. Your power transcends traditional limitations, Miss Malfoy. Neither dark nor light, but something new. How you use it will indeed determine the fate of bloodlines for generations to come. Shouts and running footsteps echoed from below. Thorpe glanced toward the sound. They've discovered the empty cell. You must go now. Come with us, I said impulsively. Help us fight Voldemort. Thorpe smiled thinly. The council does not take sides in political conflicts. We observe, document, occasionally guide. But we do not fight. Then what was all this? Harry demanded. If not taking sides? Insurance, Thorpe replied. That magical evolution continues regardless of who wins this war. He gestured to the dais. Now go. The Nexus requires both twins to activate it. Draco and I exchanged glances, then stepped onto the dais together, Harry joining us. I placed my bleeding palm on the small cabinet, and after a moment's hesitation, Draco did the same. Focus on where you wish to go, Thorpe instructed. Somewhere safe, connected to your bloodline. I thought of Hogwarts, of safety, of home. Beside me, Draco seemed to be concentrating on the same. Gemini Itinerus, Thorpe said from the doorway. Twin journey. The oldest Malfoy escape spell. Magic surged through the Nexus, bright and powerful. The last thing I saw was Thorpe stepping back as Death Eaters burst onto the landing behind him. Then the world dissolved in a whirlwind of light and sensation. We crashed to the ground in a tangled heap, disoriented and gasping. As my vision cleared, I recognized our surroundings. We were in the room of requirement, but configured differently than I'd ever seen it before. What the hell? Harry muttered, scrambling to his feet. How did we end up here? Blood magic, Draco explained weakly, still leaning heavily on me. The Nexus connected to a safe place associated with Malfoy blood. But this is Hogwarts, Harry protested. How is that connected to Malfoy blood? Because it's where both Malfoy heirs found refuge, I realized. Where our paths converged. The room had transformed into a healing space, comfortable beds, medical supplies, even a cabinet stocked with potions. We need to let the others know we made it back, Harry said, already moving toward the door. They'll be worried. Wait. I called. The grounds might still be dangerous. Use your Patronus to send a message. Harry nodded, casting his stag Patronus with instructions for our friends to meet us in the room of requirement. As the silvery form bounded away, I helped Draco to one of the beds. You shouldn't have come for me, he said quietly as I began treating his injuries. It was too dangerous. You're my brother, I replied simply. I wasn't leaving you there. I failed, he whispered. At everything. The cabinet, the task. I couldn't even kill Dumbledore when he was wandless before me. You didn't fail, I said firmly. You made a choice. The right choice. And now what? Bitterness laced his voice. I can't go back to the Death Eaters. I can't go home. I'm nothing now. You're a Malfoy, I reminded him. And apparently, that still counts for something, blood magic-wise. A ghost of a smile touched his lips. Mother would be proud of how you've embraced the family heritage. Not all traditions are bad, I said. Just the stupid pureblood supremacy parts. The door burst open as Hermione, Ron, and Luna rushed in, wands drawn and ready for trouble. When they saw us safe, their expressions shifted from anxiety to relief. You did it. Hermione exclaimed. But how did you get back before us? Magical transportation nexus, Harry explained. It's a long story. Is he coming with us? Ron asked bluntly, jerking his head toward Draco. Yes, I said before anyone could object. He's defected. I haven't defected, Draco protested weakly. I just failed spectacularly enough to get disowned. Same result, I pointed out. You're against Voldemort now, whether you planned it or not. And we're just supposed to trust him? Ron looked skeptical. I trust him, I said firmly. And I can literally sense when he's lying, so there's that. Luna drifted over to Draco's bedside. You look awful, she observed serenely. But less conflicted than before. Having your path chosen for you can be quite liberating, don't you think? Draco stared at her, bewildered. You're very strange, Lovegood. Thank you, she replied, clearly taking it as a compliment. Over the next hour, we exchanged stories. Our friends had successfully created their distraction and escaped when Death Eaters began pursuing them in earnest. They'd returned to Hogwarts on the Thestrals, arriving just minutes before receiving Harry's Patronus. McGonagall arrived shortly after, alerted by the castle's wards that someone had used unusual magic to enter the grounds. Miss Malfoy, she said, taking in the scene with remarkable composure. Mr. Potter. I see you've been busy while the school has been in crisis. Professor, we rescued Draco from Voldemort, I explained quickly. He needs protection. McGonagall's eyes swept over Draco's injured form. I see. And you thought abducting him from his family home was preferable to consulting with the Order first? There wasn't time, Harry said. Voldemort was punishing him for failing to kill Dumbledore. And Cassie could sense it through their twin connection. Twin magic, McGonagall murmured. Rare and powerful. Very well. Mr. Malfoy will remain under school protection while we determine next steps. She turned to Draco. I assume you understand this means cooperating with the Order of the Phoenix. Draco nodded wearily. I don't have anywhere else to go. What about Professor Thorpe? I asked. He helped us escape but stayed behind at Malfoy Manor. Alden Thorpe disappeared shortly after the Death Eater attack, McGonagall informed us. His quarters were emptied. The only trace was a letter addressed to the headmaster's office, explaining his resignation. He was working for something called the Council of Magical Preservation, I explained. Monitoring magical evolution, especially related to my abilities and the prophecy. I'm familiar with the Council, McGonagall said, surprising me. They rarely intervene directly. If Thorpe was an active agent rather than just an observer, the situation is even more significant than we realized. She straightened, suddenly every inch the Hogwarts headmistress. For now, Mr. Malfoy will remain in the hospital wing under guard. The rest of you should return to your dormitories. Tomorrow will bring many challenges, not least Albus Dumbledore's funeral. The reminder sobered us immediately. In the rush of the rescue mission, I'd almost forgotten the greater tragedy that had precipitated everything. Professor, I said hesitantly. Do you think, would Dumbledore have approved of saving Draco? McGonagall's stern expression softened slightly. Albus believed in second chances, Miss Malfoy. Even for those who seemed least deserving of them. She glanced at Draco. Perhaps especially for them. The day of Dumbledore's funeral dawned clear and bright, the perfect weather a stark contrast to the somber mood that pervaded the castle. Students wore their formal black robes, many with red-rimmed eyes from crying. I visited Draco in the hospital wing before the ceremony. He'd been placed in a private room with an Auror stationed outside, protection as much as guard duty, given his defection from the Death Eaters. How are you feeling? I asked, sitting beside his bed. Like a traitor, he said bluntly. To both sides. You chose your own side. That's not betrayal, it's integrity. He snorted. Now you sound like Dumbledore. There are worse people to sound like. I took his hand. I'm working on a way to contact Mother, let her know you're safe. She'll be under constant surveillance, he warned. Any attempt to reach her could put her in danger. The resonance mirror bypasses normal detection. I squeezed his hand. I'll be careful, I promise. We sat in silence for a moment, the twin connection allowing a wordless understanding to flow between us. Finally, Draco spoke again. What happens after today? After the funeral? Everything changes, I said softly. Harry won't return to school next year. He has a mission from Dumbledore. And you'll go with him. It wasn't a question. Yes. Draco nodded, unsurprised. The prophecy is in motion then. Your choice made. Not because of any prophecy, I corrected. Because it's right. Because Voldemort needs to be stopped. The Dark Lord will come for you, Cassie. For both of us now. The twin Malfoy heirs, one to serve him, one to defy him. It's too symbolic for him to ignore. Let him come. I straightened, a plan forming in my mind. In fact, maybe we can use that to our advantage. How? By embracing our heritage, the parts worth saving, while rejecting what's corrupt. By showing that blood matters, but not in the way Voldemort thinks. Draco studied me, understanding dawning. The blood magic. The family spells Mother sent. Exactly. We have access to magic he doesn't understand, magic that predates his pure blood ideology. Magic based on connection rather than exclusion. It's dangerous, Draco warned. Blood magic draws on life force. It could kill you if pushed too far. So could Voldemort, I pointed out. At least this way, we choose our weapons. The bell tolled, signaling it was time to gather for the funeral. I stood reluctantly. I'll come back afterward, I promised. We can plan more then. Draco caught my hand before I could leave. Cassie. Thank you. For coming for me. The simple gratitude, so foreign from the arrogant boy I'd first met months ago, moved me deeply. Always, I said. That's what family does. The funeral was beautiful and heartbreaking. White marble encased Dumbledore's body, mermaids sang from the lake, and centaurs paid tribute from the forest's edge. Harry sat beside me, his face a mask of grief and determination. Ron and Hermione flanked us, similarly solemn. As the ceremony concluded, I noticed a familiar figure standing apart from the crowd, Narcissa Malfoy, heavily veiled but recognizable to me through our connection. She had risked everything to attend, to confirm for herself that Draco was safe within Hogwarts walls. When our eyes met across the distance, I felt rather than saw her nod of acknowledgement. A silent communication passed between us, gratitude, understanding, and a mother's fierce love that transcended political divisions. After the ceremony, Harry walked with me along the lake's edge. His expression was distant, focused on challenges ahead. I need to find the Horcruxes, he said finally. It's what Dumbledore and I were working on. Pieces of Voldemort's soul, hidden in objects. That's how he survives. I know, I said quietly. He looked startled. How? Draco overheard things at Malfoy Manor. And I hesitated. And I've been researching independently. The blood magic book Mother sent mentions soul containers as the darkest perversion of life magic. Then you understand why I have to hunt them. Why we have to hunt them, I corrected. I'm coming with you, Harry. It's too dangerous, for you, for me, for everyone, I interrupted. But my abilities can help. I can sense magical structures, identify protections, maybe even track the Horcruxes through their connection to Voldemort's main soul piece. Harry looked torn. What about Draco? He's your brother. And he'll be safe here, under the Order's protection. But you need me more. I took his hands in mine. This is my fight too, Harry. The prophecy about me, whatever it means exactly, is connected to all this. I'm meant to be part of ending him. I don't want you in danger because of some prophecy, Harry protested. I'm not. I stepped closer. I'm choosing this. For myself, for you, for a world where blood status doesn't determine worth. He studied my face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Together, then. Together. I sealed the promise with a kiss, gentle but filled with determination. As we walked back toward the castle, I felt the weight of both Malfoy and Lawrence legacies within me, no longer conflicting, but complementary pieces of who I was becoming. The prophecy had said my power would transcend blood, and perhaps that was already happening, not by rejecting my heritage, but by redefining what it meant. The blood magic book had a saying I'd initially dismissed as flowery rhetoric: in crisis, blood will tell. I understood it now. Not as a statement about purity or ancestry, but about the fundamental truth that emerges when everything else is stripped away. My blood, both literally in the magic I performed and metaphorically in the connections I valued, had revealed who I truly was. Not just a Malfoy, not just an American transplant, but something new, a bridge between worlds, traditions, and magics. As we reached the castle steps, I glanced back at Dumbledore's white tomb gleaming in the afternoon sun. The greatest wizard of the age was gone, but his legacy continued in the choices we would make. And I had made mine. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel and like this video.